in studio today. So Hilton is out. He's got some other things going on. He was a little too trapped up in. But we have my sister as a co-host today. This is Tiffany. She talks.
A little bit.
There we go.
A little bit.
And we have Johnny Mumbles. You probably hear us talk about him. He's one of our sponsors. Not like alcohol sponsor, but you know.
Yeah.
We do have a problem. It's just not that.
Not an AA sponsor.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
Like a normal.
But you were just talking about that is not your actual name. That's like your persona.
Yeah, Johnny Mumbles was kind of given to me. Most tattooers over time end up developing a nickname that's kind of handed to them over time.
Yeah. It's like a prison thing.
Yeah, it's like a
that's tiny.
Well, except for mine's like I have a speech impediment thing. Like mine's a.
Is that where it comes from?
Yeah, I mumble like motherfucker. Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have a really bad.
Are you better now than when you got it? Like when you got the nickname, I mean?
No, not at all. No,
really?
most people have like, oh, what'd you say? I talk fast and I stutter over myself. It's a whole lot of fun.
How long you been tattooing?
12 years.
Yeah.
12.
Dude, you're super good for just 12.
Thanks, man.
I've seen some people that
fucking
like,
up at 12.
I've been doing it for 30 years, and I'm like, ugh.
No, they hit the plateau and start crashing pretty hard. Yeah. A lot of people hit those plateaus and start crashing pretty hard. It happens frequently.
Dude, just to go on the Mumbles thing a little bit. I mean, our guests probably, or our people probably know this about me, is I went to school and I couldn't talk real well, so I had speech class in like elementary school. So I get the Mumbles thing.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't go into the rap thing, which I could have, not knowing that it was going to be such a big fucking thing now.
Yeah. He was more of a stumbles.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'll get caught up on a word, which I promise you, the listeners are very aware of this, but I'll get stuck on a word and I'll add like an extra T in it or something.
Oh, yeah. No,
like
that's...
The excitement. Trying to say it, just get out quick.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like, I know this sentence is fire, and really it's not. But I gotta get it out. And people are like, nothing happened. And I'm
it's fine. Cool. Yeah, no, I mumble terribly. I stutter. I speak over my own self. I'm all over the fucking place.
Have you like figured out why that is? I think it's because my mind is moving so fast that I'm like, I know I want to say something. I know something else is coming. So I got to get this out of the way because it's like everybody's getting out of a fiery building. And I'm like, we got to get the fuck out of here quick because some more things are coming.
I think it's a little bit of ADD, a little bit of I'm just not... don't care about as much what I'm saying as much as I should, and I'm just getting it's just word vomit 90% of the time. I'm just like I gotta say this real quick, and then I'm like, why the fuck did I even say that anyways? And I'm stuttering back over myself, going, fuck, let's go back to that. I'm not really meaning that. Let's figure this out, and I'll mumble my way through it enough to where people like assume I said something important. Most of the time, it's not.
I go through it way too quick, too, and I'll just skip words. Like, what the fuck did she say? Well, I've done that before several times, even on here.
Yeah.
Because I can't, I'll go to articulate it, and I'm like, what the fuck? I know what I said.
Yeah.
And it feels like I said it correctly.
So with Mumbles, because I've been, like, given nicknames in my life that I may or may not have liked at the time. Like, I had Boogie at one point. My dad would call me Homie.
Yeah.
So it's like some things you just fucking hate. Dude, do you like Mumbles?
I hated it at first.
They call you Johnny Mumbles or Mumbles?
So there's a different level of how I know you know me now.
Was this like childhood nickname?
No, this was like in my 20s.
Okay.
My like later 20s. I'd say probably around 26, 27. I was working at a shop in Fort Walton, and there was a guy out there who gave me the nickname. So due to that, he kind of made business cards, and I just kind of leaned into it, man. I was a young tattooer, didn't know what I was doing, and he gave me free marketing, more or less. I hated it. But now it's like, if you call me Mumbles, you know me through tattooing. You call me Johnny, it's like, you met me in the shop, we've gotten a little bit more familiar. Yeah. John is like, hey, we know each other. And then Jonathan's like federal, or the police officer's parents, stuff like that. Like, there's a level now. So I kind of got to the point where I've gauged it out on how familiar we are.
That reminds me of, like, if somebody calls somebody like a full name, not like Cody is like, people are just going to say Cody. They'll never like normally shorten it. But like John to Jonathan. Yeah. Kind of like Joey Diaz. He's like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And Nicholas Diaz.
Yeah.
It's like full names like that.
Oh yeah. Once you get into this, it's like, it's my mom, or it's someone important. I'm like, all right, crap, it's a cop. We're in trouble. But typically, the whole Mumbles thing has just been something I've kind of rolled with. I mean, how many Johnny Mumbles are there? You know?
Yeah,
and it makes it easy.
Good. I don't know many people called Mumbles. I know Bubbles, but that's Trailer Park Boys. You know?
Less glasses.
I'm not far from it.
What were
so.
your nicknames?
Tiffer, for the love of fucking God.
I didn't like that one.
Yeah, and I did not like that. But I did realize where it came from. So when my parents were together, it was, disgustingly enough, Tifferoni. Tifferoni. And so my mom kept Rooney and my dad kept Tiffer. Yeah, and my mom still calls me Rooney. And Rooney, I'm like, I'm on the fence about it. But the older I've
Almost
gotten,
another name.
It is. Stop it. But the older I've gotten, I kind of like it. It's a cute little sentiment. Only they call me that.
Yeah.
You know?
So I like just saying Tiff.
Yeah, Tiff's fine.
Yeah,
That's
Tiff.
definitely fine.
I feel like that's like just, I don't know, that's just
But
nice
just like
and
he
easy,
said, it does,
breezy.
depending on what they call you, that I know how long they've known me or how close we are, or like what grouping. Like from work, people that are close with me there, T. I get called T. Like
T is cool.
like,
I like an
Yeah.
initial. Like
Yeah,
when
conditional.
somebody's first initial is B, you're like, what's up, B?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't imagine any other nickname though, other than part of my name and those two.
Well, see, like I have 2 daughters, right? And my oldest, I thought we named her. Her name's Ellie. It's not. That's not an abbreviation. It's nothing short of anything. It's just Ellie. Well, I thought it was funny to start calling her Eleanor. I thought it was hilarious. Didn't think twice about it. Well, one day she comes home from school and she literally goes, "Dad, I told my friend Matt my real name." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "I told him my name was Eleanor," and I said, "Baby, that's not your name. That's not." She was like, "What?" I said, "That's not your real name." Like,
Yeah.
oh man, it was a blast. And then when she was younger, so she's on the spectrum, and she couldn't pronounce her last name for a long time. So instead of trying to say a Gary, she would say a scary shark. So for a long time, it was Ellie a scary shark, and it was Eleanor a scary shark. And I was like, "Look, we're giving you all kinds of like messed up names, screwing my kids up
crazy.
just because it's funny."
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying, so not to be, I don't know what is the right terminology. So when you're Mexican, is that the right terminology, or are you Spanish?
Mexican.
So what is the difference? Like Spain, obviously.
Yes.
Spanish.
There's an
Mexico,
ocean.
Mexican.
Yeah, there's an ocean of difference.
I get that, but I feel like people are, dude, you can't call them Mexican.
Why not?
That's what I'm saying, right? Why
Well,
not?
They're from
There's
Mexico.
proper terminology.
But I do know, like, people lump
I think if you
everyone,
put
he's
that
Mexican. Yeah, you can't say that, right?
No.
I think if you don't put the stank on it, I think it's okay. Like if you
Right.
say it weird, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big no-no.
Like, I bring this up because Louis C.K.
yeah.
is Mexican
Yes.
and looks nothing like it.
What?
Yes. Yes.
So that's wild that you're Mexican because you don't look anything like.
I have a really white dad. That mom's real brown. Like that's just he's just got blue eyes and the whole nine. Yeah. I got screwed on the whole deal.
That's wild. Do you feel any benefits from having the culture you have behind your name?
When I get stopped by a cop, it's a little longer than it should be until he sees I have blue eyes, and then it's a little easier.
Are you fluent in?
No. I say enough to get me through certain things, but other than that, no,
Okay, but
unfortunately.
then if you live in Mexico, you don't speak Mexican, you speak Spanish.
That's because it's a language.
Yeah, it's a
Right,
language.
but then it's also a location. So
Yeah.
why
Well, it's
isn't
not just a location,
Mexican
it's a culture.
Well, it's a different dialect.
Yeah.
Mexica or something? Mexikish. Why isn't it Mexikish?
Mexican.
Ooh.
Because it's a different dialect of Spanish, right? Like
I mean-
Portuguese, and then you got like
Yeah. No, you're not incorrect, but
right.
I don't feel like it's correct. I mean, I know it's a weird line.
It's a weird thing.
It's
like,
a weird line. Yeah.
Hey, I know that you live in Egypt, but you have a Texas accent,
Well, how
so you're
come-
Texanese or something.
How come we speak
Texan.
English?
Or
but-
something fucking
Yeah.
Well,
Texan.
how come we speak English and we're in America?
Exactly.
And, like just the title
American.
But we speak
Anything
Southern.
that
Like, it's
is
not.
American-
Southern. That is over.
Anything that's American or touching America kind of gets that little
Extra.
not so good rub.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's like Mexicans, you should stand up and take your language and make it your own language.
Well, they do. They have.
Like it is the same,
Yeah.
but it should be called yours or something. You know, it should be called
Yeah.
something else.
different.
Just think about it, because like I don't know. There's like other things that are the same that
Yeah.
like
That
a
are different,
Mexican
yeah.
pizza is just a big ass nacho. That's not fair. It
That's
should
not
be called
even-
something else.
Yeah, but it's not even real Spanish food.
No, that's just Taco Bell.
Yeah, I know. And Taco
Yeah.
Bell does not claim to be Spanish
God.
food. Did you know that?
No, that's great because
They
it's
are just
Americanized
fast
Mexican
food. They don't claim to be like Mexican or whatever.
That's a
Yeah.
lie.
I heard that somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm just
okay.
repeating what I've heard.
I'm a fact check you on that bitch. I got you.
That's why I don't think they because have you ever seen like any sort of flags anywhere in there?
No, not they.
Purple isn't on any
Look,
flag, bro.
they're not representing a damn country. They are still representing
They're
Mexican
representing
food.
tacos.
American.
See, there it is. It just came out a little bit.
Yeah, there it is.
They're representing Texacos. No, they're representing tacos, and tacos are of what?
I mean, okay, but we've
Yeah.
Americanized it. If you have an authentic taco or an authentic, what's the other one? A chalupa or a tostada.
See, I thought that was something Taco just created.
Taco Bell?
Taco Bell. TV, my bad.
My initials.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. No, they have the chalupa. I guess they created that because that is nothing that is Mexican.
No,
it
it means
is
small
like-
boat too. It's not even.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
what?
it means small boat.
Small boat?
Yeah.
chalupa.
Hey, have you had a chalupa? They're pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
The nacho cheese chalupa with steak.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
we're gonna be up all night.
Dude,
but
I
it's
saw a
good-
commercial for a new. They have like a steak quesarito. It's got like cheese and jalapenos. And every time I look at it, I'm like, that's only going to be good at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
There's no other time that's going to be a good, decent.
Mexican pizzas really sold me.
Also,
Yeah.
since you're here, we can grill you on this.
Let's go.
How come Taco Bell, and not that you work there, how come every item is all of the same ingredients, just in different orders or different shapes?
Most Hispanic food is that way, though.
But it's always,
But it's always-
good.
Yeah, it's seasoned a little different. It's
Yeah.
cooked a little
That's like
different.
how Toyota has like 40 fucking cars, but it's like they're
same
all pretty
car.
much the same car.
The same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kia does
some-
the same thing, and
Yes.
they're all just the same car. Here's a certain car, just different shapes, same thing. I think it's How I Met Your Mother actually has a joke about that, and Barney starts talking about it. He's like, I didn't want Chinese food. He's like, it's a protein, it's a rice, it's a vegetable, it's the same thing. He's like, no, well, Mexican food. He's like, I said I don't want Chinese food. It's like the same thing.
That's a very good fucking point. Another thing that I ask people sometimes, and I feel like it's better when you have like a background in something other than like just me and Hilton talking. But how come like in some countries you can literally go like a couple miles and they'll sound completely different?
Mhm.
In America, it's the same way. You can go like hundreds of miles and they'll sound different. But how does that happen?
It's the dialogue.
Hold on, but how?
Because you're not okay.
Because if I
Well,
walk
if it's
over
Florida,
here,
it's meth. Let's be honest. Like it's
Florida
different.
man's a
It's
different
meth and
language.
sun. Like there's something messed up there.
There's
But
so many
But
different
if
regions of
if say we all disperse for the next
Mm-hmm.
40 years and don't talk to one another and we move away and then we come back and talk to one another, I feel like we're still gonna sound like ourselves.
So I watched it.
Okay,
I watched
I'm
this,
very interested.
I watched this really cool study about a girl who was not deaf and then went deaf. And at first you can hear everything, so you know all the language.
Yeah.
It had been 20 years afterwards, and she had learned sign language. She couldn't even pronounce things the same as she pronounced them before. So to me, it's that understanding. You got all these people around you, so you have a language that you continue to speak. And I'm continuing to talk because I'm around everybody. I'm still going to have the way I speak. But if I moved and maybe I was in Ohio or New York or somewhere else, after about 5 or 6 years, I'm going to pick up on some of that too. And there'll be twangs that'll be up there. I will have less of that southern drawl than I have right now, because that's just what you surround yourself
Yeah.
with, and you pick it up, you adapt it.
I mean, I get that now,
Yeah.
but eventually, or like at one point, we all came from Pangaea or whatever the fucking one original land was, and then it split up, right?
yeah.
We all kind of sounded like one thing, but how did we start sounding like other things when we were all still the same people? We just started creating more people.
I have a good point.
How did our babies just be like, yo, I'm gonna sound different, yo?
You ever been around people?
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
I mean, people
I
do
have.
sometimes come
Yeah.
out sounding different. They just
Yeah.
sound
Yeah.
like the voice is lower or higher, and they pitch weird
Well, your
ways.
kids
Well, see if that's all
Pick
the
up
case,
on
then
that
how do
too.
you explain Creole? Like there's a thing about that.
That's what
like,
I'm saying, bro.
that's-
I worked in Thibodaux, Louisiana for like a year.
That's just wild. Man.
Oh my god, dude! It was like I just would just point at things. I just need. It's like I know you speak English or what it's supposed
Yeah.
to be. I just need more of this thing. Like I would have pictures of it. Oh,
Yeah, you're ingrained in that environment,
Yeah.
so that's kind of just
Yeah.
what's developing and what's going. Like,
it's just wild.
think about if you had even just characteristics, not even just a language, like the way somebody talks, or if maybe I'm too high pitched all the time or whiny. You get that person around nobody who's ever spoke before, and you start developing or growing the population. All they're gonna hear is this whiny person. They're gonna continue to be a whiny person and think that that's acceptable. So that whole culture, everything that's there, is going to just grow and develop into one little tiny culture itself.
That's a good point. Are you bilingual?
No.
No?
No.
Are you even just kind of just with your family maybe?
Minorly. Like, it's not enough to count for shit, to be honest.
Como
Like,
se llama?
So is your mom or your dad Mexican?
it's my mom. My
Your
dad's
mom?
white as shit.
Does
Yeah.
she speak
Not
primarily
fluently.
more?
So my grandfather is from Chihuahua, Mexico. And then my uncles were all here. Everyone, they're in Texas and they're bilingual. My mom moved to good old southern Georgia and shit the house there. So like that didn't happen. And then I picked up none of it except for enough to get me through, like I said, certain situations that kind of are helpful if you like want drugs or things you don't really need all the
You
time.
barter for like fruit or vegetables. You're just like, yeah.
Sure, we can call it fruit or vegetables.
But isn't that all different too wherever you go? Like the dialect of Spanish is very different everywhere.
Yeah, but I didn't go to Cuba or anything. Like I went,
Right. Well, I guess
was
so,
like Florida
yeah.
and Georgia would be where
Yeah.
certain things would be done.
True.
But I mean, I traveled to the United States a bunch, but it wasn't like I needed to be bilingual for anything I was doing. I was playing with bands or being a vagrant mostly. Yeah.
So before Pensacola, where were you and what brought you here?
Hula Moon Tattoo Studio is what
Oh,
brought
really?
me here about 9 years ago, a while ago. It's probably about 8 years ago at this point. But before this, I was in Fort Walton. Before that, Georgia, Colorado, Florida again, all over it. I was all over the place, man. I just, hung out, traveled. As soon as I got old enough to kind of just go disperse, moved out on my own at 17, and then at 18, it was go time, and just traveled with bands, hung out, did whatever I could, whenever I could.
So you kind of picked up tattooing like while you're out with the bands?
No,
Or-
so tattooing was something I always wanted to do. I got taught how to tattoo. So I was living in Orlando, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine in Georgia, and he was like, "Hey, man, remember Crazy Eddie?" I was like, "Yeah, I remember Crazy Eddie." He's like, "Yo, he wants to teach you how to tattoo." So I was like, "All right."
a random phone call?
Well, I'd been up there hanging out, and I'd been gone for about 8 months at that point, 9 months, maybe a little longer than that. And when I got that phone call, I was like, "Hell, I mean, that's awesome. I'd love to go." Because my friends and I would still send art pictures and stuff to each other. He's like, "He wants to teach you how to tattoo." I'm like, "Cool." So I called him up, and I called Eddie, and I said, "Well, so what's up, man? What's going on?" He's like, "So you don't learn how to tattoo, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I need you to move here then, because I can't teach you on the phone. It wasn't Skype or anything like that point."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay."
I mean, that'd be even hard.
Dude, fuck
through
all. Yeah,
Skype, I
yeah, you
can't
couldn't do any of
imagine.
that. And I was like, "All right, cool." So I moved to Georgia, broke up with my girlfriend, slept on his couch, learned how to tattoo for a year. It was a whole process, but yeah, that was when during that whole part of my life. It wasn't during the running around having fun, causing chaos across the United States or any of that nonsense. But yeah,
So I assume everyone that tattoos has some kind of talent in drawing, no matter what. Or is
yeah.
that-
I mean, I've been drawing since I was a kid. I don't know how good it was. My mom was definitely the artist in all of us, and she kept me on top of it constantly. And as she pushed me in it, and she would always help me. And then when I told her I was going to pick up tattooing, she fucking hated it. And then when I moved for it, she was all for it. And then she pushed me and helped me nurture that part of my life and start drawing. But yeah, drawing was something I always try to keep my hand in. It just always didn't seem to pay the bills for anything. So it was like, oh, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to make this logo for this band. I'm trying to make these pairs of Vans. I was painting it when I was younger. And it was like, all right, I made another $40 here or $60 there, but it wasn't enough to ever pay any bills.
How
Enough
hard
for
was
extra
it when
money.
you first started, like tattooing? Skin. I
Oh,
assume
it was
everyone's
trash.
skin's
I did a
different.
bunch of bad tattoos. I think everyone does it first. Yeah, there's someone who told me it was like tattooing. It's like making an omelet. You have to crack eggs to make an omelet, and I cracked plenty of eggs. And tattooing is no different. You end up making your way through this, starting off just doing terrible things. Especially when I first started tattooing, there wasn't like right now. There's a bunch of stuff on the internet that help nurture you. There's a lot of information that's just out and about, and I wasn't at that point. It was like, hey, you have magazines, you have word of mouth, you have conventions if you're lucky, and a few friends. But a lot of it is just hoping to God you're not fucking someone up too bad.
Do you feel like it was easier to get into becoming a good artist back then or now because of all the things that can help you now? Or was it like you're a better artist because of what you went through back then? Like you have the foundation built because you had to go through more difficult processes.
I think it's a lot. That's such a catch-22. That's hard.
It's tricky
So-
because I know a buddy of mine who's started tattooing within the like iPad and
Yeah.
right when light boxes kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I know places still use light boxes, but
Yeah.
right when like iPad started doing like where you can trace and zoom in
Yeah,
and
do the
make
whole
everything
thing.
real fine, and it was like it kind of
Yeah.
cut the edges off for you.
Yeah, it made things a lot easier.
Yeah.
People are starting off at a lot higher of a point.
Yeah.
I think it's such a tricky area because like I do see there's more good artists now than there ever have been, and it's because like there's so much more knowledge on our hands. But I think like the good artists back then were a lot harder to find, but they were also on a higher pedestal because these guys were so much they were grabbing knowledge from anywhere they could, and it was a lot harder to get that knowledge. That's why those guys are still revered as great. Like that, they've made their name in stone. These new guys, like there's a million of them that have iPads, a million of them that do a lot of things similar to what I do.
Yeah.
And
Everybody
much
tattoos
beyond
nowadays.
Yeah, everyone tattoos.
There's like
That's too easy to.
My old work, there was a Starbucks in there, and a girl would tattoo people.
Jeez.
Not in the Starbucks, but she would be like, "Yo, I tattoo at my house. If you want anything."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have what I have now, and I was like, I'm probably good. Like I understand the processes now.
Oh, dude, I hear
that,
reports of people pick and poking in their college dorm rooms now. It's happening, and everyone's doing everything these days. Like there are rights and wrongs for certain things. I think a lot of tattooing itself, a lot of the newer stuff that's coming out, it's going to filter itself out in 10 years when people start seeing that these small details and these small little things still age like your grandfather's tattoo.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're doing them small and they're doing them tiny and they're cramming all this detail and they look cool for the first 3 to 5 years, but you put them under some Florida sun and that thing's a blurry mess and I'm covering it for you and I'm doing this big ass tattoo and it's the size of your whole entire arm that should have been done the first time anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's
I see some people get like the finger tattoos and it'll be like all the like scary guys from Halloween. It'll be like Jason's mask and stuff, but it'll be like as big as maybe not even that big.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be super detailed, and I'm like, that looks fire right now, but that's just gonna look like a wedding ring in a few years.
Oh yeah, let's go. First time you skin your knuckle, that thing's fucked, dude. I've done a couple of knuckle little tiny micro things, and every time I've done them, I've told someone, I was like, "Don't you tell anyone I did that thing. Let's not ever talk about it because I don't want people coming asking that." So I mean, maybe we shouldn't talk about those.
Yeah.
But yeah, no man, screw all that. Like there's so much detail.
It's tough. I think sometimes people do it for like social media. Like I know there are some artists like I know Bieber has like a ton of fucking tattoos, or like Nyjah Houston or Ryan Sheckler has like a ton of fucking tattoos.
Yeah.
And they're like, or rappers like Wiz Khalifa, Lil Wayne. They have like a ton of little bangers that are like, that is gonna blow out over time, or it's just so thin that it'll just fade out of the skin or whatnot or fall out. And I'm like, I think they just want to get covered is the point. Not so much the quality of every single little thing.
Well, I think it's a lot of people are going, "Hey, my friend does really good tattoos. Let's bring him over there." And you're seeing like movie stars and rappers are coming together with good tattoos now. Like it's crazy with like Shia LaBeouf got covered in some really fucking good.
Yeah, I saw his like I don't know if it's right terminology, but cholo piece.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Because he's in a Mexican gang.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
Shia LaBeouf? Bro, there's a documentary out on YouTube and he goes into it because he like has this like acting studio in Compton where it's like free and whoever shows up he would teach, and that kind of got like haywire, but it was spawned from a movie he did called The Collector or Tax Collector, where he played like a white guy, but he was like the collector for the gang. Like he would collect the money for like drug deals and like, yo, you owe. So like fucking.
Let's go.
But at that time, he like connected with the community and he got his whole thing done. It was crazy.
Yeah, he got tattooed day after day after day by this. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but I remember it coming out and I was like, "Holy hell, these are good tattoos!" And then you'd see a few people come through and get these good tattoos. Well, it was great because a lot of good tattooers started speaking out, saying, "Hey, stop getting bad tattoos like the people you're looking up to. They're trash.
Yeah,
everyone's looking like Chipotle bags. Let's fucking stop that right now. Let's get some let's get some good tattoos on some good people." And it was cool. Like it's cool to see tattooers finally stand up and going, "Hey, this is not good." Like, and then so people started getting good tattoos. You started seeing The Rock actually get a good tattoo. You started seeing Sylvester Stallone get good tattoos. I mean, hell, even Joe Rogan got those cool Japanese tattoos.
Yeah.
They all got good tattoos. And you stop, instead of seeing like Post Malone's Always Tired, he went through and got some cool stuff finally. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. So you know where good tattoos are. I don't know why the fuck you've been getting these bad ones.
But unfortunately, that culture was bred, and it's like ants. It's like they're everywhere because, like, Lil Xan or like Lil Peep or like all these rappers, Lil Pump, every Lil that you can think of has the little shitty tattoos everywhere.
Dude,
I like some of Lil Peep stuff.
I've had to redo some of Lil Peep's tattoos on people.
Yeah,
dude, not a fan. I mean, I get that everyone's fanatic. Like they're fans about him. And I get it. But having to recopy those tattoos off of him that were already done bad.
Yeah,
I'm like, fuck.
I can't even imagine doing something like that.
Are there pieces you won't do at all?
Yeah, I try to avoid racist
pieces or areas.
Shit, either one, I guess.
I mean, I'm sure there's areas like, hey, I'm not gonna tattoo your actual asshole.
I mean, the idea is right. I mean, and the money's right. We'll do most of anything, but
really,
I mean,
well, wouldn't you like at the point if somebody comes to you and they're like, "Yo, I want my actual tattooed, or my asshole tattooed"? Would you be like, "I don't know that you can take the pain"?
Most people aren't serious about those things. You'll hear more jokes and more like guys will come in. Hey, I want to get my dick tattooed. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then you go, okay, well, we can do this. We'll set an appointment. Let's get it set in stone. They go, whoa. I'm thinking about it. I'll come back and we'll talk about it. No, I'll never see him again. That's generally the census on those things. But if someone's like serious, I mean, yeah, I'll do it, but I'd prefer not to. I'd rather do a cool tattoo in a cool area.
Everyone's gonna see.
Well, not only that, but just shape it properly. Like, what tattoo are you gonna shape properly for an asshole?
That's gonna look good. Finding Nemo? An octopus. He made me ink. I mean, come on. That is like the perfect fucking tattoo. There is a world
famous porno
that has the asshole with the tentacles.
She has her. Oh dear God. I think her thing is Octopussy. I think it's her like.
I have no idea.
But it comes from her butthole, and it's like an octopus, and it takes up around her hips and everything.
That's so crazy.
Damn. It's wild. Like, just think about being back there and being like, well, I'm actually fucking an octopus? What is going on?
It takes a special person for that special person on that one. Yeah. Like, that's a unique connection.
Also, I think she has, like, an abnormally fake-looking butt. So it's like, you also got to be into that. Like, a butt that is just, like, crazy big.
If you've tattooed an octopus coming around your ass
and you're talking to her, you're like, yeah, you're probably good. You're probably, I am into that.
Actually. Yeah, I think you get to that point. But I mean, yeah, man, I mean, the right time, the right stuff. I mean, I'll do most tattoos as long as they're worth doing these days.
I think this leads us to our next question. What is the craziest tattoo you've done? Maybe not size, like, yo, I did a whole front piece or back piece.
Yeah.
Like, a whole body.
The most like ridiculous tattoo, man. My most ridiculous tattoo is such a simple tattoo, but it's tied to such a goofy story.
Okay. We're here for it.
Okay, let's go. So I'm first year of tattooing. I think first or second year of tattooing. I'm middle of nowhere, Georgia, and this woman comes in and she's wanting a Woody Woodpecker behind her ear. Seems simple. I was like, hey, I have time to do it right now. She's like, no, let's make an appointment for this day. I'm like, okay, great. She's a beautiful woman. Everything's great. I'm like, okay, let's do this tattoo. We set it up in stone. She pulls up for her appointment a week later in a lab coat, in a Mercedes-Benz, like all like top to bottom. Doesn't make sense that we're doing a Woody Woodpecker tattoo. Well, on the passenger side, a guy pops out that I was hoping was her brother or something. He's got like 5 teeth in his mouth, dirty shirt, torn up jeans, pops in. Okay, they come in, and she goes, well, let's do this tattoo. I'm like, great. So we're literally laying down. I'm doing the tattoo. I'm about done. She goes, so do you want to know the story behind it? I was like, absolutely, if you want to tell me. And she says, well, I'm leaving here to serve my husband with divorce papers. I said, I'm so sorry to hear that. She's like, no, he's an asshole. I said, okay. She's like, well, I'm leaving him for Woody. I said, oh, who's Woody? The gentleman that was with her was Woody. And the Woody Woodpecker tattoo was for the guy that she was leaving her husband for. I was like, this was a whole mess, and I would have talked her out if I'd have known the whole story to begin with. But it was such a terrible, like, I was like, well, we're knees deep anyways. The line work was already done at that point. There was nothing. There was no talking her out of it. It was just goofy shit. But, like, yeah, that one little Woody Woodpecker tattoo still lingers in my mind. Like, out of all the goofy little things I've probably done through the years, that one's it.
That's wild.
She
Yeah.
sold the car, and she's wearing somebody else's lab coat. Man, that was
That had to
no
have been it.
fucking
There's
way.
no way. Like everything about it was just seemed so seemed so odd, and I was like, no fucking way. Okay.
Now that begs me to ask: Has anybody ever tried to pay you with something other than
Money?
yeah? Have
mean-
they ever been like, "Yo, I'll wash your house," or like,
Oh,
"I
I'll
have
buy
cocaine in a bag"?
drugs. People always try to pay with drugs, but that's not been
Yeah.
something I've ever taken. I've taken like firearms and
Yeah.
and like computers and
But
stuff.
they've
like that all the
never
time.
tried to be like, "Yo, I have a Game Boy. It's brand new."
Oh, dude, that's happened plenty of times. People will come in, yeah, especially at street shops.
Yeah.
Dude, they'll walk in
See,
and go, "Hey, I got a bag full of cameras." I'm like, "All right, well, you got a bag full of cameras, so what are you gonna do? Like, you should go to the
Yeah.
pawn shop first and then come back to me. Like, if it's something I want, like someone
Yeah.
comes to me with a MacBook or something worth my time, that's something I'm interested in. Yeah, I'll trade a tattoo. It just gives me having to pay cash for it, absolutely. But for the most part, yeah, no, that's only a street shop thing usually, but it does still happen.
What's your worst experience? Like, 'cause ultimately, like, you are an artist, but, starting out, you have to deal with so much shit. You don't know what kind of person you're going to have in your chair.
You still deal with that. That happens now. Like, oh, I've had one guy pass out 2 times during his tattoo, and that only happened last year. Like, yeah, and usually you try to get them come to, and if they're good to go, you keep going. But generally after the first pass out, I'm like, hey, let's call it a day.
yeah.
But this was like within the first few minutes, and he was like, I just haven't ate. So we gave him some food. He was good for a couple hours, and then boom, out again. I was like, well, I'm done, man. I'm like, I'm not gonna play
Yeah.
chase the dragon with you. Like, we're not doing this whole thing.
Well, is that typically just from not eating or not being hydrated? Because I've
Typically-
never come close. I even had 10 hours straight on my neck at one
Yeah.
point, and I was never to the point where I was like, I'm going to pass out. It's more like you get mentally exhausted. You're like, okay, I'm kind of done
Yeah,
with
I'm
this
fucking
for
over it,
today.
Generally, it's from lack of sleep, lack of food, several lacks. Or it's just hey, the adrenaline's pumping, endorphins are pumping. I've never had this before. My body says shut down.
You just can't keep going.
Yeah, no, you can
Fucked up.
I mean, you can, but I mean, I
Hey,
think
she
that-
can't tattoo nobody, okay?
Yeah. But it
She's like,
generally,
he can't technically
Don't
feel
trust
it.
me.
yeah, he's
He's
fine.
fucking-
That's the best time. Just go and get it done.
I guess
Shit.
so.
I have tattooed a paraplegic's legs once,
Oh,
and
really?
that was, dude, he laughed.
Please don't tell me you were like, how's that feel?
Well, I
You know you
I
have
was
questions,
curious.
Like after,
Well,
typically
he
after-
asked me to. I was like, "Man, are you sure? Like this
Yeah.
is cool." He's like, "Dude, I can't feel it anyway." So I was like, "Okay."
Not even phantom at that point?
No, and he just like kind of laughed. He's like, "Dude, I have no idea what's going on." I was like, "Great." It was like a tiny little tattoo.
Dude, I have to tell this story. Okay, I worked at Journeys, and like it was my first 3 months there.
Yeah.
And it's holiday season, so it's like at the point where we're at, it's probably like a week after Christmas, and the dude wheels in a wheelchair, and he's kind of like a regular, but like I hadn't seen him buy any shoes yet. But he comes in with shoes, and he's like, "Hey, my wife bought me these shoes. They are the wrong size." And I was like, "Okay, cool. What size do you need?" And I'm assuming, obviously, he knows what his size is. And okay, so I give him the shoes. He tries them on, and just like customer service 101, you don't think about it. I'm just like, how do those feel? Because it's just second nature.
Yeah.
You're not even thinking like,
Yeah.
Because he put them on and rolled up to the mirror, and he was just like, they look pretty good. And I was like, well, how do they feel? And I was like, and he, without skipping a beat, he was like, I don't know, dude. I can't feel my legs. And I was like,
Call you out.
shit.
yeah. And I was
Instantly.
like, dude, I am so sorry about that.
Oh my
Like,
Was he
'cause
cool about it?
yeah, no, he was fine. He was getting at me. Like,
Yeah, probably
he
thought it was
put
funny,
it right
yeah.
back to me.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I
so
was
hard.
just like, wow, I walked right into that. And I was trying to be on my P's and Q's because I was like, I want to take care of him because, like, obviously it's probably a big deal that he got the wrong size. Like, somebody was trying to go out of their way to get him shoes.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Well, too, you
I
don't
took
really
my
know.
lunch right after that. I was like, I'm just going to.
Yeah.
You
Get a
don't know
break.
100% what it is that he's got going
Yeah.
on. He might could feel it. It just has some kind of disability.
Yeah, that kind of threw me. I was like, damn,
That
that's
fucked me up.
that's a good one right there. That is,
At my job, I have to be very political, and the first couple of years were really, really tough. I've got a potty mouth, and like just trying to filter that on top of not say inappropriate words or terminology. I'm the world's worst. But it balanced out. It's tough.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about any of that.
I know,
usually
y'all.
just run my
That's
mouth
something
way too
so
much.
cool about your job is like you can be like, hey, I'm gonna be here. I don't have to tattoo you.
Well,
Somebody always wants to get
And
tattooed.
that's why I was wondering
No.
if you could, like, certainly at this point, I'm not tattooing that shit. I'm not doing that. I'm not.
Oh yeah,
placement, that tattoo.
Well, I mean,
any of that
there's
shit.
a lot of stuff I don't want to do anymore, and if I don't want to, I mean, I'm booked 10 months out in advance usually year round, and due to that, I'm like, if someone doesn't want, I mean, there's something idea, I'm just like, yeah, I think this is better suited somewhere else, and luckily I have coworkers who are all crushing, so like because of that, I can just go, yeah, this person's gonna crush what you need, and I think you're better off there. And the only time I typically tattoo outside of my wheelhouse is if it's a repeat client. And like, hey, I've been tattooing you for a while. Now you decided you want to get a traditional tattoo. I love doing traditional, but I'm not going to, like, we already have Chauncey and Josh. Why in the hell would I touch it when I know they're crushing these things daily? And that's their thing. I'm like, hey, you're going to be better off than them. And I even show my clients, like, hey, you can get tattooed by them. They're like, no, I want you to do it. I'm like, and it's just comfortability at that
It
point.
is
Like,
a
let's
very
crush,
weird thing.
man,
It's kind
let's
of
go.
like a barber thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, I love my barber.
Yeah.
Like, how do you even?
Oh, I get it. Like, I have Nick
Yeah,
cut my
like-
hair and Chase cut my beard. Like, they both are capable of doing both things. I'm like,
Yeah.
look, Nick can barely grow a beard. I'm gonna go straight to Chase. Chase has got this cool beard all the time. But
That's such a weird thing to navigate. I always wondered that about tattoo artists, but I never thought to like ask them like, yo, is it like weird if I show up with another tattoo? Or
I just
no,
thought it had to do with
no.
the specification.
Some
of what
tattooers
the
get weird
talent was.
about it.
I feel like it's
Some
like
tattooers get like
case by
"Man, why
case
the fuck?"
because
Some get weird about it. I'm like, I don't give a shit. If you come back with a bad tattoo and you say, well, it was like $30, I'm like, dude, why in the fuck did you do that to yourself? Now I got to cover it. Or I got to fix what you got. You're going to pay me $100 now to fix it. Way to go, man. You could have just paid me $100 to begin with. Now you decided to be $130 and could have had a good tattoo to begin with instead of me salvaging what dog shit you brought me. That's more annoying than anything. Because I may not be able to get you in. I'm going to get you to someone who's good. Or at least I'm going to refer you over to a good shop. There's several in hand. And even if it's not a good shop, there's good artists at several shops. We'll get you taken care of. I have no problem making sure everyone's fed. That's not an issue. I think it's weird when tattooers like get super protective of their clients. Like, no, you can't tattoo them. Like, why? That's their body, man. You don't own them. You don't own anything they're doing. Now, if they're going and taking my tattoos to have them finished somewhere else, it's a little goofy. I think it's weird. But I mean, maybe they don't want to get tattooed by me anymore. I don't think I've had anyone do that. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it's happened. I've been tattooing 12 years. It's got to have happened at least once.
Any memorable cover-ups?
And I've done several. I did have a weird one get brought to me recently. Oh shit! The guy came in. He was like, "Hey, I have a tattoo I got in prison. I need to get covered up." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." He's like,
Little daddy.
I'm gonna wear long sleeves, but it's a pretty serious cover up. Comes in, dude, full forearm portrait of Hitler. No shit.
Damn.
Fucking full on portrait he got done in prison. He'd been in prison for a long time. He was like, dude, I'm getting a job. I need this cover up. I'm like, well, are you still like, this is your thing? Like, what's up? He's like, no, man, not at all. This was a survival thing. I was in prison. I was like, okay. And I told him, I was like,
he's like, can you make him look like Andy Kaufman or like, what can we do here?
That's like what you're limited, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we can put a Fu Manchu on and make him all crazy.
Or just solid it out.
No, I was going to make it a skull. Make it a skull with some roses. Dude, something I can do. He didn't have, he was like, I have X amount of a budget. I was like, okay, I can do it within this parameters. We can make it work. It'll be several sessions. It's not going to be when you're trying to get your job. There's no way in hell I was like, outside of blacking it out, we're not getting it done that quick.
Yeah.
But I can do my best to make it unrecognizable in a short period of time. He never came back. I think he ended up going somewhere else that was probably cheaper, or I have no idea. I never saw him again. So, but I mean, shout out to that guy. I hope he got it taken care of.
What is your feeling on what is now like? It probably has been around for a little bit, but like not like I'm not as in the tattoo culture as you think I would be looking the way I do.
Yeah.
But when I first was getting tattoos,
Yeah.
I was like very interested in everything that was going on. But it seems like nowadays it's very popular that people go blackout and then they go tattooing on top of the blackout.
So
What is your take on that? Like, is that just a trend going on right now? Or do you feel like that is like cutting edge?
there's some cool stuff that's coming out with
Yeah.
it, and I'm
I'll
so
tell
back
you-
and forth. I'm so back and forth on it because I think blacking out, especially if you have nothing there,
Yeah.
seems so wasteful
Yeah.
to just go straight up. Like, I'm just going to black this out. I did have a guy recently reach out for me from Louisiana that wanted. He was like, "Look, I want to get my entire body blacked out." which I was all good for at first. But then he was like, I want to start my face. And I was like, I don't think we can start with your face because I can't give you human blackface. Like, I think that's like, I'm not comfortable just starting here. And
yeah, if that's the final thing to be
covered, like let's
different.
finish that. Well, he had a bunch of bad tattoos, and he had started like on the side of his head, already blacking it out. Like this part was blacked out. But I was like, look, man, I'm not comfortable starting there. He ended up messaging me a couple other times, didn't follow through, but
what's the intent? What's the purpose for that?
I don't know.
There are people that are fanatics about being covered.
Yeah,
like
some
quite
people are.
literally being covered.
Yeah.
There are things. It's kind of like when people do the bumps or like.
You seen that one guy who's like the human venom or whatever? He's a bodybuilder that's blacked out. His body, like everything is neck down, and he's huge. Dude's like juiced out of his mind, but he's also got blacked his entire body out too. But there's a bunch of people that it started with piercers and body mod artists. It seemed like it was very prominent in them, and then people started realizing that hey, if we layer white enough times, we can make some cool designs over it. And it's became this new trend where everyone's like, just want to be covered. I just want to be covered. I don't care what it is. I want to be covered. And it seems it's like they're taking last resorts and jumping straight to it to begin with. Instead of just going, hey, I want to get some cool tattoos. There's like, I have no idea. It's just black it out. I'm like,
I'll say there's some interesting ways to do it. Like there's this dude that's in porn and his leg is like letters.
Yeah.
And it falls into a solid black sleeve. But it's like a bunch of individual letters that are falling. Yeah. And then it slowly combines where it's like way too many of them and it's solid black. And I was like, that's a creative way to go black out. Or like when they black out and then they do like a sleeve of flowers, but it's just the outline and the outline is darker black.
Well, see, I'm doing that to Nick.
We're
blasting over his. He had a big horror sleeve he had done years and years ago. We started blacking out big peonies. We're doing a rendition of a Lucky Cat, but instead it's going to be his dog as a Lucky Cat and stuff like that on his arm, and then we're going to do a bunch of blackout stuff around it. But I usually try to talk to people like Justin Nunley. I talked him out of doing a blackout. He tried to talk me into blacking out his upper arm. I was like, dude, let's not do that because he had a couple cover ups, and then we ended up blasting it over. He had a big blacked out section and making it into this Polynesian looking type thing instead, and then we did this really cool lower half sleeve on him. That was I was like, look, if you still hate it, we'll black it out still. That's fine. But let me try to salvage what you have first. Go that route. Save you a lot of time, money, pain, and just start by making you have something you like versus just something you're tolerating.
Yeah, that's aggressive.
Yeah, man. Just jumping straight into blacking out seems like such an aggressive thing to do immediately.
Yeah.
Instead of just going, there's cool tattooers everywhere that are doing really cool stuff. Let's think about it for longer than a week and really dive into it.
Yeah. I know a few buddies of mine that had, like, maybe not the best sleeves ever, but I definitely feel like they could be reworked. Like, this was, like, a super shitty tattoo. As you can tell, like the color fell through. Yeah. And I was like, Chauncey, I want you to redo the outline and possibly recolor it. And he's like, let's redo the outline and then look at it.
Yeah, see how it looks.
And I was like, I actually really do love it with just the outline.
Yeah.
And a lot, in my opinion, coming from somebody who has no knowledge really of how tattoos work or other than just having them done to me, there are some tattoo sleeves that can be saved or like pieces you just need to be reworked just a little bit or like just an outline or two. Like, but people, but two of my buddies where I was like, one of them, I was like, the sleeve is sick.
Yeah.
I love the sleeve. And then next time I saw him, he had a full fucking blackout, his whole arm. And I was like, was that the trend that got him? Or was it like he just didn't like that arm anymore? Because this whole arm is cover-ups.
Yeah.
And it's like, I figured out a way to make it just like work enough.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm
I do plenty of cover-ups, and then people would bring these things to me going, hey, do you think we can cover this? I'm like, yeah, it's going to take some sessions. Or if you want to laser it first, we can go through that process. But let's make sure you're getting a tattoo. Understand there's going to be like a line of like, this is what I want and this is what's capable, and I'm going to meet that line as well as I can.
Yeah.
But there's ways to salvage before we start just diving into just blacking out everything. Man, I'm so torn on it because I think it looks cool sometimes.
Yeah, there are some pieces.
Especially when you mix it with that crazy, like there's this Russian style, it's like black worky type, like really aggressive, like thrashed out stuff, almost borderline tribal. That's like someone on heroin drew it. Shit's crazy. I've done a few. I actually did a whole forearm in a day in it. It
Are
was
you
cool as
talking
shit.
about that style that people are getting on their faces and shit?
Yeah,
Yes,
shit's
I've
aggressive
seen
as
that
fuck.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It looks like they've been listening to black metal for a week and
Yeah,
doing
and it'll
heroin
come
nonstop.
across like even their
Yeah.
eyelid onto their nose and shit, and I'm like,
Dude,
holy fucking hell.
but it looks like you're just like, fuck, that's cool as shit. Like,
Yeah.
you'll see those. Those are cool. And even that's more is better than some of the stuff that's like,
Yeah.
I just blacked out my body because I was bored. Like, man, why the fuck do you do that? That's last resort. There's a lot of,
I think that is our age's version of like when our parents would get blocks of like a fucking band around their ankles.
Those are coming back too.
Yeah,
Dude.
of solid. Yeah,
Dude, the bands are coming back. Tramp stamps are back. Tribal's back. Dude, barbed wire's back. I'm fucking here for it because everyone's doing it way cooler now. Dude, the Tribal's coming back in such a cool way now.
Didn't Pamela Anderson have barbed wire on her arm?
Yeah, I think she did.
Yeah.
She had something like that.
No, she had barbed wire because she was in a movie called Barbed Wire. I'm pretty sure. Or something like
That's
that.
fucking
Yeah.
right. She was a superhero.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first female superhero
Yeah.
movies. Wow, that's fucking right, dude. Dude, people have done some wild fucking shit. Have you ever tattooed something where you were like, that's like my Magna Carta. That's like my... I couldn't be more happy with how that piece came across. Like, that is what I aspire... I'm chasing that dragon every time I pee. Like, pee.
There's a every time chasing every time I
I
pee.
piece up.
Every time I pee.
That's a sick tattoo,
That's a
dude.
sick tattoo. Yeah, there's a few out there, man, that I've been really proud of. There's a couple on my Instagram that have been really great. There's this one torso I did of Archangel Michael taking over the devil, and the floor's all fucked up on it and everything. It's huge, and I did it over a course of. Shouldn't have taken a year, but we did it over a year because he took a small break in it.
Yeah.
Beautiful, love it. And then when I was back, we did the devil taking over an angel. And it's cool as shit too. And then we're doing his ribs and everything, and then we're gonna do. One arm's going to be Jacob's Ladder. The other arm's going to be Dante's Inferno. It's going to be this big, full body torso type thing. Dude, it's cool as shit. But there's several that I absolutely love.
Are these more recent or?
Well, that one's over the course of several years. The most recent one was that I did a 3 Fates with Achilles and I think it was Hercules and someone else on an arm. It's one of my recent ones I posted. And that one was beautiful. There's several I've done. I'm just like, I fucking love this tattoo.
Do you feel like you're peaking, or do you feel like
I hope not.
You're still leveling
Man,
up?
I fucking hope I'm not peaking yet. I'm hoping that I have some time before I really get. Luckily, I work with some good tattooers, and we call each other on our bullshit. And anytime that there's anything like, hey, you can do this better, or you can do this, change this up, or we have enough guest artists coming through. Like this weekend, we have my boy Panda's coming through, and he's crushing on traditional stuff, and I'm able to watch them tattoo and able to see them, and hopefully that'll continue to help me incline and keep going the way I need to. Yeah. But I'm hoping I'm not peaking yet, man. I'm hoping. I'm also ADD, and I hope if I get bored enough, I'll just switch back to neo-traditional or something. Yeah. We'll figure it out and go from
the
there.
more you try different techniques anyways.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, it's got to be like, I relate to jiu-jitsu because I do that, but like in jiu-jitsu, you can possibly feel like you're peaking, but you will never actually peak, maybe like in a competitive state. Like you have a run of just like victories and then you start to decline or whatnot, but you'll never peak technically because there's always an area you have to focus really on one specific area to really grow that, right? Yeah. You can be kind of sharp on a lot of things, but if you want to really progress, you have to focus on one thing, which means something else is going to be falling a little bit. Yeah. So you're like not technically going to peak, but you always feel like at least when you're coming up, you're growing. You're like, I am getting better actively at all these things because you're giving them enough attention. Do you ever feel like you get stuck in a certain style where you're like, yeah, I know he wants a flamingo or something, but I really want to do a skull.
Luckily, a lot of my clients are really receptive of things. I'm like, hey, I got this idea. Yeah. It may be a little weird, maybe a little different, but let's go with it and see how it goes. So I'm really fortunate. There are days where I feel like it's more of a job than it's not because, I do a ton of fucking lions, man. I think it's one of the most common tattoos over the last 5 years. And I try to make each one a little bit more different, a little bit more unique on its own. But even then, like I'm like, okay, well, this one I'm gonna have to do more detail because otherwise I'm gonna blow my fucking brains out. This thing is too goddamn boring. Like I have to do something to set me out. But even with that, like you've got to find a way to stop yourself from just plateauing, doing the same fucking line over and over and over. Different reference, different shade point, change it up, put something else weird with it, make it work in some way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna drive yourself crazy with this shit, man. It becomes a job instead of just something cool I get to do every day, which I love what I do. But the moment it's just like the same boring thing, I'm just like, fuck, I gotta change it up. Otherwise, I gotta get the fuck out of here and do something else.
That shit reminds me of that Family Guy episode where, like, he's asking for something, and he's like, I can do a good Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, but I want this. And he's like, all right, well, we're gonna do a good Kermit the Frog. And he keeps repeating it. I'm like, that's gotta be like how artists feel like, I know what they want is really not a good idea.
Oh, I talk to people about shit all the time. I'm
like a glow in the dark sugar skull with like a black and white X over the or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh yeah, dude. The common thing is like people want to go. I want to do splashes of color. And I'm like, don't. Every time, don't. Please don't do it because you're going to have a tattoo that people are going to literally look at and go. So when are you finishing it for the rest of your life? If that's what you want to do, we can. That or the cross that's for me. Like, man, I have to tell people all the time. Like, you realize that 90% of the time people are going to go, oh, so it's like for the devil, right? Like, that thing's upside down. It's upside down, yeah. Like, if that's what you're going to do, go for it. But, like, no, that's what you're doing. But, yeah, I talk people out of shit all the time, man. I am the worst about it. I'm like, yeah, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. The font's too small or this is not enough detail. Understand that. Like that, living and working in the same area for the last 8 years has been a big plus because I see 8-year-old tattoos, or I see that when I go to Georgia, I see tattoos I did 12 years ago and go, damn, I should have done that bigger. That should have been less detail. I should have used a smaller liner because that shit looks like fucking chopped dog shit now. Yeah. And not necessarily that. It just needs, it's a little too close or it's a little too dark. And now I'm getting to see him age. And I'm like, okay, I know this tattoo's going to look good for 20 years now because I'm making these differences. I'm doing these little things, little tweaks. Yeah. And it's keeping me from plateauing because I'm seeing these tattoos that I'm doing 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, and going, okay, that was a terrible idea back then. It looked cool then, but let's not do that shit twice, and let's do it better this time. And like I can't say enough. Like the people that I work with me, fucking dude, they crush, and they have. Hell, Sean has been like, "Hey man, let's finesse this a little bit right here. I think you'll really step this up." Whatnot. I'll go, "Okay, yeah, let me change this up. I normally do I'll shade here, but instead I'm gonna use a liner and change it up right there. And damn, that shit was clean as fuck. Let's go that route instead. Yeah. And I'll change it up." Like Sean's always giving me shit, telling me like, dude, you should do more lettering, because dude, that was my passion for the longest time, is lettering. And now like no one wants to book a year in advance doing lettering. Not for me at least. They want to do black and gray lines and shit. But doing lettering, I love it still. And Sean's always pushing me like, dude, get some more lettering here. Same thing with Alex. Like, dude, get some more lettering. What are you doing? Get more lettering. And I've been trying to get more people like, hey, let's do some more lettering. Like, even if it's a little jammer, let's get some lettering in here. I'm gonna do something cool. Let me take a marker and draw on, like I'm gonna do what you guys did. Let me take a marker and draw on you. I can do some fonts. Don't worry. And man, if I can like never have to use a stencil again and just draw shit with marker, I would do that all day long.
I'm curious. How do you know when you're too deep in someone's skin or not deep enough?
That's Phil. You learn that over time. That's like I said, the crack in the egg thing. Yeah, you fuck people up for a minute and
but
figure it out.
Everybody's skin's different, isn't it? Like it just.
Some is more callous. I mean, if you tattoo different parts of the body, it's going to feel differently. Like if you tattoo someone's palm, you're going to need to go deeper than if you tattoo like someone down their arm.
Right. Or like knee or something.
The knee is going to be a little different, but it's experience. Yeah. This experience of like, hey, I fucked up enough of these things. I know that if I pass this time, it's going to suck. It's not going to. It may suck a little bit more. We're going to get it out of the way. Or sometimes you just like, hey, we're going to line it this time. We're going to come back and shade it because I know it's going to heal better that way. But that's experience. It's a lot of feel. You learn it over time of just doing the wrong thing or having enough people around you that do the right thing and they go, hey, yeah, this is the reason I do this and this is how I've kind of developed my feel or my touch on these certain things. And you like I said, you work around these people and you develop these things as you go. It's like anything else in life.
Have you ever been done with a piece, sat back and looked and was like, whoops? Was there ever something where you're like, now I know that's not how that word is spelled, or you're like,
oh shit,
or maybe you flip the design and like say it's like I've seen this on Ink Master where they flip Two-Face,
yeah,
because they had to do it for the opposite side of the body and didn't realize like it made it to where Two-Face was actually the literal opposite, and his face was on the wrong side of his face.
Yeah.
Have you ever done something like that and then had to be brutally honest with the customer and was like, hey, not a big deal, but...
I have misspelled not a lot of words. I wouldn't ever say I've done a plethora of words. But like there's three that I can think of off the top of my head over the last like decade or so.
Now, were they difficult words or were they like...
No, they were like...
regrets?
Well, one was like the word armor. I spelled it with like an English spelling, it with UR and OUR instead of just OR. And the guy lost his shit on me. So technically not wrong. It was, in his mind, he was upset. And I was like, look, I knew what I spelled it. I knew how I spelled it. I thought you understood how I spelled it. I explained it to you. And somehow that went right over your fucking head. And he was really upset about that. Most times I have people write down what they want. Then I write it and have them check it. And then I put it on them going, hey, check the spelling and the placement. And at that point, 3 times the charm, I'm out.
Right.
There's... Most times, man, I try. The other one is a pretty good story. There's this guy, he used to tattoo over a black guy out in Fort Walton, and a bunch of the guys who are now over at Full Hearts, good people. And one of the guys came over to me and was like, hey, man, I want you to do Ancient as Time on my collar. And this is for a while, man, me and him had a couple drinks, and we're sitting there hanging out, bullshitting. He's a tattooer, too. And I draw it on marker. He goes, dude, it's fucking sick. Yeah, he sends a picture of his wife. Everything's good. Crush it out. Mind you, I'm like 3 or 4 drinks in when we do this thing. And he goes home, and I get a text message, hey, man, no biggie, but we misspelled a word. I said, wait, what? I said, what we do? And he sends me a picture. He's like, dude, ancient doesn't have, it's not ANCHIENT. And I was like, oh, you fucking kidding me. Next thing I know, the guys are at Full Hearts, or Black Eye at the time, were like, yo, we're going to send you a dictionary, dog. Like, this is the whole thing. Busting my balls and stuff. Like, they're busting my balls. Like, a lot of them still talked about getting lettering and stuff like that. Like, everything's been kosher, but it was just this goofy little thing.
It's a good icebreaker.
It was, dude. It was such a goofy story. Luckily, apparently the guy, I don't know what happened to him. I haven't talked to him.
Did you fix it?
I talked to him about it. I told him I'd do it for free, and we never seen it. He thought it was a funny story. I was going to cover up the part of it with like we were going to do a rose, and then put a leaf over it. It was going to be something really mild. He had wanted a rose there in that area, anyways. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't seen him in years.
He's afraid that
he
rose
quit.
would be a tulip.
Well, he quit working over at Black Eye. I haven't heard him for years. Like that was a decade ago, though. I mean,
that's tough. It takes a lot to admit, like, that was me, my bad.
Dude, a lot of tattooers, no one's perfect. And we do goofy shit just like anyone else does. If you're drawing shit on a marker sometimes, people are just hyped on it, not paying attention. It happens. I think almost every tattooer will tell you, I fucked up at least once. You just get better at correcting your fuck-ups before people notice over time. I think there's Vice does a documentary called was it Tattoo Age?
Yes, I've seen them.
Well, Dan Santero talks about like he fucked up and colored outside of a leaf, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna give you some free shading and give you a free thing, and he ends up throwing another leaf on this frog tattoo he's doing, and he's like, dude, save my ass. No one had an idea. It ends up, but tattooers do the same thing. Like you're gonna make a mistake at least once. We do these things all day long. We do thousands of tattoos in a year. There's going to be like this one thing where you shaded just a hair outside by accident. There's going to be that one imperfection. Most of them are uncaught or not a big ordeal, but there's always going to be something. No one is perfect. There's always going to be one little goofy thing. You're like, man, that's kind of goofy, but it's not a big ordeal.
How often would you say that you start a tattoo and the person getting the tattoo thinks they can get that tattoo and don't ultimately finish?
Not that often. No, not anymore. I will say it used to be a lot more often. Like when I was in my first few years at street shops. Dude, people come in with like, especially if they've had a drink under their belt, and I want to get this whole thing done. Let's crush it out. And that was also back when I used to be like a lot more of an aggressive tattooer, and you develop, a little bit more of a finesse over time. I was more aggressive with it, and I was just like, fuck it, we gotta get this thing on here now. And they'd be like, I can't fucking do it, and you'd be halfway through it, and like, all right, I guess this is the end of this one. And never see that one again. Hope you have a good life, and they never come back. Nowadays, it doesn't happen as often.
That's how my tattoo on my ribs were. Like one of my first tattoos, I got my whole rib done, and it was like a rose coming through the skin. And it's a good piece. It's like roughly that big. And they were like, it happened to be like Flash because they were just like, just go check that shit out, try to get something off there. And I was like, okay. I told them what I was looking for, and they were like, I think we have something over there. So I picked something off the Flash, and he's like, now where are you wanting it? And I was like, on my ribs, and he's like, bro, you're not gonna do that. And I was like, I really want it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am pretty committed to what my future is gonna be like. Yeah. And he's like, I don't think you're gonna do that. And I was like, so am I not allowed to do that? Or can I do that and you just don't want to do that? And he's like, I will do that.
Yeah.
I just don't think you're going to sit through the whole thing. And I did. But, like, how often do you have to talk people off of a ledge that you know, like, hey, dude, you're not going to get your whole back for your first piece. You're just not.
Oh, yeah. That's
Is
not
that a
true.
Tough battle?
That's not true. I actually had a woman come in, get her only tattoo is a full back.
Wow. Her
only tattoo, yeah. It was a good tattoo. We did it in several sessions. She sat like a champ. I think we did it in 5 sessions. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was back at Hula Moon too. But that's, I mean, I would say it used to be a bigger factor. Now, so people come in and they're like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more technology to it now. Like I said, the machines are different. The way we handle it's different. How we tell the people to prepare for it. It's not like, hey, just be here Friday. We'll figure it out. It's hey, I need you to make sure you're well hydrated, make sure you're eating right, make sure that you're mentally prepared for this. Yeah. I need you to take an Advil beforehand. Like all the works. Yeah. No one used to do that shit before. No one cared. Like, hey, I need you to do this beforehand. Like you'd come off like drink it for 3 days and you go, all right, I'm ready to go, and then you're not making through this thing. Like, it's you're not ready for life right now. You're definitely not ready for a tattoo.
It's a whole different setup. Like I see people sometimes, like when I'm in studios getting tattooed or whatnot, that I'll come in and they'll be laying on a table getting their back done, headphones in, watching a movie. Yeah. Like I'm sure they're.
Oh, we got TVs throughout the shop now. Things are different. Like it's a different world. It used to not be this. This monster's massively different.
The fucking Chauncey got on to me about this, but like the guns or the machines or whatever the fuck you guys call them.
Old tat guns.
Used to be like, so it's like you couldn't hear someone talk. Nowadays, they're so quiet. You can have a legit quiet conversation
with someone,
the artist, and like,
it's a lot more calming.
Yeah.
Everything, like even the psychological side of this whole thing is massively different than it used to be. Dude, like I said, it's a different monster than it used to be. And because of that, we're able to get people through these big tattoos. I mean, I do these day sessions where I'm sitting there for people from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. now, crushing out lower forearms in a day. Like I have a highlight reel on my Instagram where it's just the day sessions. And that's literally those 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.s. And people are sitting there all day long with me. And I do one at least one a week now. It's no longer like this odd thing where people come and do them. I do them every week. And we're like, hell, I have one tomorrow where we're doing a split woman's face with the Hanya mask on the other side and a bunch of crazy stuff behind it. We'll be there all day long. We'll crush through it. It's gonna be great. And I'll work them through it. There's different types of spray that have lidocaine in it now, so we can like, hey, we're taking a break. I'm gonna kind of ease this on you, so we're gonna get through it. Why highlights aren't the same torture they used to be. There's so much to it now that we can just go, hey, we've developed not only a during the process or a pre-process, but even a post-process. Like the healing process is like that wrap I put on you.
Yeah.
Dude, how easy was it, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
By the time you take that off, you're like, dude, so I don't have to worry about like getting infected. That's crazy. What the fuck? And you're doing these big tattoos and they're not having to worry about infection or, it's sticking to their sheets at the end of the night or any of that weird shit.
I remember when I first got my chest done and I had an appointment and I also had to work that night, but I was a chef in a wing shop. And I was the head cook, so I just dropped the wings.
Yeah.
And I'm standing over fucking hot frying oil all fucking night. And I had to wear a white shirt and the apron over it. My shirt scabbed pretty much.
Yeah.
So taking it off that night, I was like...
That's happened.
And I was like, oh, fuck. But like nowadays, you got that second skin type shit, and you can pretty much go about your business... Unless you're doing some wild stuff, like it's going to rip or something, but
dude, that's
you pretty much can go about your day.
Yeah, you get to, like I told you, just do normal life, and then when it's time to take it off, make sure you keep it clean. That's the biggest thing now. It's no longer... Yeah, now it's no longer, hey, we're going to worry about having to slather with all this other shit. You have to be attentive to it constantly. Make sure you're not doing this or doing that. You're like, hey, leave it the fuck alone. Don't touch it. And then when it's time to take it off, be careful, clean it really well, and let it do its thing. It's like I said, everything's different. It's so much different. Even just in the short period of time I've been tattooed. 12 years is not that long. But I mean, hell,
But a lot can change in
dude,
that
when I first
short
started,
amount of fucking
even when I
time.
first started tattooing, tattoo magazines, they used to only keep them in porn stores.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they didn't keep them in like normal places. Like you couldn't go to CVS or Walmart or Books A Million and grab a tattoo magazine. It was like, this is a taboo thing. There's a black cover for it. They're putting this in the adult sections of places if you're lucky. And that was how it happened until 10, 15 years ago. That's probably 15-ish years ago, give or take. And even before that, hell, tattooing was still outlawed in some states until I think a couple years back. I think it was like West Virginia or North Carolina or something like that. Just outlawed or just recently relaxed the law on it within the last 10 years.
That's wicked.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What are some like controversies that maybe us normal folks wouldn't know that happen inside of the tattoo world? Like, what are some like scandalous things where like somebody stole and like, yo, this is actually my flash, and they just like
dude,
carbon copied
that's
that
all.
shit.
That happens all the day.
Yeah,
That happens all the
Is there
time.
anything juicy that like it just is like, oh
Most-
my god, I can't
most
believe this shit
tattoo-
happened?
See, that used to be a lot bigger of an ordeal because the
Really?
internet wasn't so big.
Yeah, but can you have
Now-
ownership over that kind of stuff?
Absolutely, over
So
drawings and shit,
there's
right?
to a
and
degree.
no.
Someone's suing Kat Von D right now over doing portraits
Yeah.
because they're saying she's doing copying their photos,
Yeah, that's
and they own the rights to those
You mean-
photos.
Oh,
like
I
a
see what you
photograph.
mean.
Yeah.
Did you hear what happened in the WWE? Like
No.
with their games?
No,
So there was a tattoo artist that was suing the WWE game. I think it was like the 2018 game or something for Randy Orton's sleeves because she had tattooed them.
Yeah.
It might have been a he, but I want to believe it was a she. Had tattooed the sleeves and was
Yeah.
like, "That's my image and likeness on him, and I'm not getting a cut." And it's in all these fucking video games. It's on all
that Mike
but she
Tyson shit. That's what happened when that Mike Tyson got sued. That
Yeah.
the artist sued The Hangover, so they had to digitally change it in the movie.
Oh, really?
Dude, I'm pretty sure that's what happened with it. I may be wrong. Maybe just talking my ass. I'm pretty sure someone told me that though.
No,
But
I
they
heard something like that too. Yeah.
but they had to change it because he sued them, and they ended up having to either pay royalties or change it. So it's just easier to change it. I may like once again, maybe wrong on that, but I know he did try to sue him. Since then, it's just been like tattooers like, no, give him my cut, give him my cut. I'm like, dude, your cut was like you get a credit, dude.
You got to pay, right?
Yeah, get it. Like you got paid for the tattoo. Now it's on his body. He gets to own this.
Well, that's where I'm at. Like,
Yeah.
he's the canvas.
Yeah, at some point, like
Yeah.
autonomy has to happen.
He
in there.
purchased it. That's
Yeah.
it. That's like you getting a graphic on a car. The dude owns a car, and then like the car becomes like a show car, and it's making covers of magazines. Just because you installed the vinyl on the car or did the wrap, he paid
Yeah.
for it. Like
Yeah.
it should be some sort of like, I get the idea, and maybe you were just trying to get a one over. And
Yeah.
I think if she wins it, that's gonna change the image and likeness of all games. Like everyone's gonna have a claim to some sort of
Yeah.
pay cut out of it. That could delete the game. Like
No, there are so many motherfuckers in
That's
this
what I'm
world.
saying.
It's really hard to do that and say that someone else has somebody else's ownership when it could just be a very brand new idea in that area and it's coincidence.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fucking tough deal.
You'd have to get a lawyer on here to know what length of would Randy Orton have to sit there and go, yeah, no, fuck her, and like
Is her
and
artwork trademark?
it's mine.
That's what I'm saying. I don't
Yeah.
know it.
Does she
Like
patent anything? I
Well,
don't
even
know.
if it's custom, I mean, how
I mean,
unique
it's
are Randy
definitely
Orton's
custom to
tattoos?
him because
Yeah.
it's like he initially got some tribal stuff done, and then eventually the tribal stuff got like surrounded by skulls and snakes and shit.
Yeah.
So it was like, I think they were trying to fix what was already on him, and then his image is changing per game.
Yeah.
Because he's just getting more and more tattoos, and then I think they were like, you know what, I might could make some money off that.
Yeah.
But then, does the tattoo community look at her or him like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Or are they like, yo, that is a good fucking idea?
I hope that's not a good
Because,
idea.
like, for example, like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Somebody could go after the UFC games. He has that big fucking...
That big old knife. Yeah.
Yeah, like, whoever did that could be like, bro, that's 4 games.
Yeah.
Let me get my check.
That's such a
It's a
slippery slope.
weird-
It's such a slippery, weird slope, though, because then I mean,
Where would you stop?
yeah, but then I mean, but like that also opens up the same gate field of like Kat Von D being sued over images.
Yeah.
Like, at what point are we going to? I mean, owners of Flash going to start suing other tattooers for their cut now?
That's a good point.
And it's
I
such a
think you
weird,
can't.
slippery slope.
If I'm being honest, like with the WWE game, the Kat Von D thing, you cannot.
I hope not.
If anything, you should have a problem with the person. Like, that person should ask for permission from the photo, whoever. Hey, like if I wanted a photo of her on me, if she has a problem, she can't have a problem with you.
Yeah.
You had no idea she might have a problem.
Yeah.
The problem should be with me and her.
Absolutely.
Like, that should be a personal issue. It shouldn't be anything. You shouldn't be a bitch about it.
Watch it. That's gonna become a
Not
problem.
saying that you are a bitch, but like,
Look, that's going to become a problem now. Nobody ever does that. Nobody says that. But seriously, if you take a photograph and you were to share it somewhere else, if you didn't have the rights for that, to print it or to share it, you're in trouble. So why is the body any different? But I'm not saying to even capitalize on the body in that aspect. It's your body.
Here's another rip on it. Say you're getting like a in fandom tattoo. Like a Nickelback tattoo of him like holding the photograph.
I love it.
So do you get sued by Nickelback? Do they have the ownership to the look at this photograph tattoo? Or is it like you're just paying like, yo, I have mad respect?
I think at some point it's just someone's a dickhead. Like at some point someone's just a dick, dude. Like, and it's too far. Because, like, some things just have to be like, you know what? Fuck it. It's fine.
Yeah.
In
it's
some
not even
respect,
big
it's a little bit of a greed thing, right? Because we all...
It is. There's no way it's not.
Yeah.
It's got to be like, hey, I'm trying to get my name out there. Or I'm trying to make some money in some way. Or I'm the tattooer who did this. Or I'm a tattooer who did that. And I'm like, you got to let go.
See, if she wins the case, though, I don't think that adds more fame or whatever you.
It causes more problems. It's going to cause more problems.
Exactly. Like,
it's going to need. There's going to be more release forms for everyone. That's all it is. Everyone's going to be signing. There's going to be 100 release forms that tattooers and the person and all these people are signing. That because the reality is for Randy Orton to be in that video game, he had to sign a release form for his image and likeness to be used for the game. Yeah. So if she's coming after anyone, it's probably going to be Randy Orton for him using the image and likeness of a tattoo that she used, and but there's a release somewhere in there. Like, there's no way she's going to... I mean, maybe. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff, so maybe she wins, but it seems like such
there's going to be like a this is her law.
Dude, NBA games are going to suck, because like everyone in NBA is covered in tattoos.
That's exactly what they were making in this like article, was like, if this passes, basically NBA, NFL, UFC, all these games are going to be absolutely fucked.
Yeah. They're just going to have a bunch of blank make-your-own characters.
Yeah, or they're going to have the players with no tattoos, and then, like...
That's going to be the weirdest thing.
There's that guy that was on the Denver Nuggets for fucking ever. He was a white dude, covered in super colorful tattoos.
Yeah.
Like, he was known... It's something Bird, or, like... I can't remember, but... Like, that was his fucking thing. And, like, you can't just have him as a white guy. No. Nobody would know who that is.
Yeah. It'd be hard to do that. Well, you know, on like any kind of artwork, traditionally off of the body, the artist signs it.
Yeah, traditionally on canvas.
How unique would that? I mean, then we're tattooing, and that's somewhere where you're getting.
Here's a funny story about that. Credit. When I first started getting tattooed, I was being tattooed by somebody that I really liked their work, and this was at the time. I'm not a big fan anymore, but I was like, could I get you to do your initials, like kind of like art? And they were like, that's kind of like a no-go in tattooing, like. That's not.
I've had
like
people ask that in the past. Yeah, they're like, "Hey, yo, can I get your signature?"
Why is that such a big no-go?
It's not that it's a no-go. I just feel weird. I feel like it's feeding my ego more than anything. Like, where my tattoo? Like, I tell people, like, remember my name.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people will forget their tattooer's name. Like, yeah, it was done by this guy at some shop in Florida. Like, just remember my name. That's way more important that you remember my name and tell people that I signed your arm. Or signed your leg, or whatever, ball sack, or whatever it is. But it's...
I get that, but sometimes people have, like, a cool-ass, like... personal logo or a personal thing that they do. Like, my thing is the smile thing. That's not my name. That's just my handwriting saying smile.
Yeah.
It's like, I like that. And I like when people I care about get that. Like, it means
if it's like in a friend
me.
Group, I mean, like, hell, I remember Hula Moon, we all got the little HM tattoos, stuff like that.
I fucking love that font and everything.
Yeah, but that was just it's a, hey, we all know each other kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or, having matching tattoos with friends, it's always like a, hey, we know each other type thing. I think that's a meaningful thing to do, but like if you and your tattooer become like buddies, and you're like, sometimes, I mean, there'll be a point where like he's like, yo, you know what, you do a little thing on me, I'll do a little thing on you, we'll call it a day, and just it's funny, a little story. Yeah. That's also like a different thing than like, hey, I did an arm on you, I did your arm, and let me just sign it at the end and call it a day because I'm never going to see you again.
Yeah,
I think it's so odd.
So that's like if a tattoo artist and another tattoo artist did that, is what you're saying.
Or even just like a tattooer, like when you become friends, like when you
so are we friends?
We're
Can
friends.
Tattoo you?
Well, we're not that close yet. I got enough bad tattoos on me, my friend.
Way too much.
Damn, dude. Yeah. Have you been tattooed by a non-tattoo artist because they were your friend and you're like,
oh yeah, dude, my lower knuckles were done by a friend of mine named Andy out in his apartment in Denver, Colorado.
How do you feel like they were done? Good.
Oh crap, they're trash, dude. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not good. He's even says, "Dude, I don't know why the fuck you're letting me do this."
Yeah.
But we were good friends, man. We went through some shit together, and I was like, you know what, I want you to do it. Let's crush that out. Yeah. And I've had several tattooers, done by friends that were not tattooers, that were just like, hey, we're the homies, and we're doing stuff together, and we're kicking it and having fun, just because I know that this is going to be a meaningful moment.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little different in my life than like, hey, we live in an apartment together and I bought this thing off eBay. Yeah. Versus like at that point, like you guys should like go get tattoos together. Whereas like, hey, I'm a tattooer. It's a little different. Let's crush this out together and get this thing mad. Like, I want you to do it. I know it's going to be crap, but I can at least keep you from killing me or give me staph or something weird.
What is your temperature on the position of letting someone that is not a tattoo artist tattoo you, or being around that, like, you just try to prep them as much as you can? Like, what happens? Do they typically suggest it, or are you like,
I try to talk. I usually
the
same comment of like, I gave you like, hey, I have enough bad tattoos. It's just usually the general like, hey, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah. Or what if like, say like we're brother sister, we're in your studio and we're like, how much would you charge us to let us tattoo one another, like a small thing?
Oh, I would talk you out of it. Like, hey, you should probably not do that as much as possible.
Like, is that a thing where you could get in trouble?
Yes.
He's letting you use it.
100%. Well, 100%. I could absolutely.
Because we're not
you're
like
licensed, or you're not. You have no formal knowledge of anything.
So you've allegedly never done it, right?
Yeah. Well, anything I've done was way when I was younger, like when we were younger in our younger years. Yeah. I try by no means to put myself in a situation where I need to worry about being in trouble with that stuff. I love what I do way too much to put it on the line over something super goofy. Yeah. Like I've had recently, like, someone even asked me, like, hey, can you tattoo me in my house? I'm like, dude, I have a fucking tattoo shop where we can do whatever the hell we want. Why would you need your house? Like, that seems like such a boring thing.
People want that as a story.
Well, so
because I did at one point, but
like I'll fly out. Like if someone's like, say you're like a very famous and you want me to fly out, and you have like, hey man, I have this area, I have a 5,000 square foot mansion, or something like that. I mean, that's a different story.
I think
absolutely different.
Yeah, everybody does it for a different reason. Like I'm not gonna lie, we kind of played around with a little bit of shit whenever we were younger.
Everyone does.
And my mom had a drill gun. We took that shit apart, that and a spoon and some other shit. We made a gun out of it. Oh, yeah. And so a couple of our friends got tattoos, and we were all gonna get them. But when I seen them actually do them, it's like, you've lost your fucking mind. Yeah. One buddy's got a star on his chest that has totally open, and there's like a lightning bolt, and the other guy's got a stick figure lawnmower and a guy like mowing the grass right here where his pubic hair is. Both of them still there. Both look like trash, complete trash. The star is like half eaten, like bled out, and you can see gaps. He's fixed it since then, but just complete trust. There's no way in hell I would let not home.
Oh, when we were young, like I remember when we was younger, I was like 14. A friend of mine's brother got out of prison and taught us how to make prison ink. And dude, it was fucking game on. We were all fucking each other up with a bunch of like needles and like making prison ink and just sticking, poking each other's ankle. Like I've covered most of mine now at this point. But dude, it was rough. Like especially when you're younger. Like when we were poor as shit. So like we're doing what poor kids do. You find ways to entertain yourself, and you get tied up with a bunch of fucked up people who are also finding ways to entertain themselves. And next thing you know, everyone's poking each other with some shit we're not supposed to have. Definitely shouldn't have been making prison ink as a 15, 14-year-old.
Here's another good one, because I obviously have never tattooed anybody, but what is your number one favorite tattoo memory? Whether you tattooed somebody or had someone tattoo you, like what is the thing that you're like, this moment I want to remember for like the rest of my life?
Oh shit!
And I have a good follow up after that we all can answer.
Okay. Dude, I've had several good stories with just friends. Like, I've gotten to tattoo close friends or close tattooers, and we just sit there and have good and just share good experiences. There's several of them. Yeah. Some who are no longer with us and stuff like that as well. But I have some good memories. Nothing I could like recount down to detail.
Any celebrities? Like you tattooed any celebrities?
Oh, Justin Nunley's a good guy. I tattooed the first base pitcher from the Minnesota Twins. Oh, Tim. He's a cool dude too. Tommy Watkins. I tattooed a couple low MMA guys.
Oh, nice.
There's several people that come through, but I know like last time I was hanging out with Justin snagged me up and took me out to go see Ernest over I think it was Mobile.
You gotta get Jelly a tattoo on there.
Dude, Jelly, I think he's supposed to get Orange. He's supposed to get Orange Beach soon.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, stuff like that. But Ernest talked about, he's like, dude, we gotta get you a tattoo me, because Justin was showing him like the cover ups and stuff I'd done on him, and he was like, dude, you gotta fucking, let's go. I was like, all right, yeah, next time you're in town. And I talked to a couple of the guys who still tour with him and stuff, and he's like, dude, next time we're in Florida, come meet us in Jacksonville or some shit. I was like, all right, cool. That was a couple of the guys that were touring with him, not necessarily Ernest himself though. But yeah, there's plenty of people that like cool stories with it, but I love my job. I think I have more clients that have become really good friends that have really good stories. I'm like, this one guy, Jensen, who always wants cool little things on him. Every time he walks in the door, I'm like, dude, what are we doing today? Yeah. And it's just, dude, he's like, oh, I did a whole thigh sleeve of Calvin and Hobbes. Nice. And dude, it's a cool, like, they're not necessarily the thing I'm gonna go, hey, let me do Calvin and Hobbes on you, but I fucking love that thigh sleeve. That thing's the coolest shit ever. And those stories are like way more meaningful over time, because I've developed friendships with them. We'll sit there and go, hey man, how's your wife doing this time? How's this going on, man? And we've developed actual relationships, and those stories are way cool. We'll sit down with a beer, we'll sit down and talk, and we'll go through, hey, this is what's going on over the last month, man. It's been crazy. Yeah. And I'll give him a moment to decompress. We'll go, hey, what's going on with you? I'm like, man, you have no idea, my life's this, and and we'll go through it, and we'll just genuinely care about each other. They become these deep community. Like, I mean, I've been tattooing a lot of people for 5 years, but that develops being in the same area for long times. Yeah. But those are cool stories, man. I mean, but anyways, what's your follow-up question? Let's divide.
Follow-up would be, like, what is your most meaningful tattoo that you have on your body? And that's for anybody, so like you can go first, and then we can like go around.
So I have 3. Most of my tattoos are just like, hey, I'm gonna get my friends are tattooing me. Yeah. I have my daughter's name on my hand, daughter's name on my neck, and then Josh Adams, shout out, my dude. He's been doing my back, and it's a big rock of ages. It's like and it's supposed to be like a representation of my mom clinging on to her religion in times of troubled waters and stuff like that. Okay. She's gone through a lot of mental health.
Rock of Ages is the lady on.
Is the woman cragged onto a stone cross in the middle of the water, and it's got mine has death above it, riding a horse, and then a shark in the water, and all kinds.
That was your back?
Yeah, that's my back.
I just saw that. Yeah,
dude, Josh is crushing it, man. We just finished the black yesterday. We're about to crush the rest of it, and then we're gonna put a bunch of like pinwheel looking flowers all around. How's the back
feel?
Don't ask me. I'm the worst to ask about it, dude. I
think all Josh, tattoos suck.
Well, yes, I do too. But Josh gives me shit because I fall asleep during my tattoos.
Really?
Yeah.
Tattoos. You see the shit? That's what I'm saying.
Dude, it hurts. Like, and I told her like, well, what do you think it feels like? It just hurts. I think I disassociate. I think it's an ADHD thing or something.
What's like the worst spot on the body, you think? Like on you that you
got tattooed? Dude, these fucking dots on my goddamn finger right here.
Really?
Those things. Yeah, me and Gabe Smith, Chauncey, Travis, Darren, Carrie, a bunch of us were all at Hula Moon one day, and I did Gabe's. And then when I finished doing Gabe's, he pours tequila on him and goes, dude, that fucking sucked. And I was like, why in the fuck did you pour tequila? I was like, you know what? It couldn't have been that bad. I'll let you do mine. Next thing you know, we're all talking to each other and doing them. Yeah. Hands down, behind my knees were sweating. I felt like shit afterwards. I was like, that was the worst fucking idea. That or Darren Anderson did this little bend back girl right here. It's near behind my knee. It's pretty rough. But those dots were fucking hell, man.
See, I have this the knife goes down close, but it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't go down. It's close.
Dude, Gabe got on like almost on my fingernail right there. It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Shit was.
I think the belly fucking sucks, but that's just like, I got the outline, and then it was 7 years later till I got it done again, because I was like, that fucking hurt. So the mentalness of it, just sitting and seeing it in the mirror every day, like, oh, that's just halfway done. Or that's like not even halfway, it's like 10% done. Yeah. And just knowing like there's a lot of pain coming my way. Oof. And then getting it done, and then like, oh man, I'm not going to be done this session. I'm not going to be done the next session. Just like that made it even more painful. Inside the belly button, that hurts.
Dude, I black out belly buttons. Dude,
my shit is solid in there.
The moment I'm blacking that bitch out. It happens.
Dude, my buddy Chris has his whole torso done, and the outline goes through his nipple, like dead through the middle.
If the stencil goes through it, it's going through it.
Oh, I'm not
Unless you
about
go,
that.
I'm not doing it. I'm like,
Shit.
we're getting rid of those little nipple cutouts. We're gonna blast right through it, make it a part of the tattoo
I'm
too.
in pain. All
I
right.
know a guy in Denver who had his nipples removed so his torso tattoo wouldn't be impeded on by his nipples.
What the fuck is wrong
You can
with
tattoo a nipple though, so
You
there's
can, but he
that.
got rid of it. It's gone. Chop that thing off. It's
That's
wild.
crazy.
That's
It's
a no
too
for
much.
me.
It's
That's
too
a no.
much.
I would assume that where there's bone, it would hurt more, but any experience I've had, I feel like where it's just the skin, it almost feels like it's raw.
Whenever there's a tendon,
worse.
like typically there's nerve clusters on the ends of tendons or muscle heads,
Ooh.
because there ends up being like there's a point where
cluster.
you can break something. And it's like that, oh shit, like hey, you need to go to a hospital. This has been damaged. Those typically end up having your nerve clusters in them. That's why like behind the knee is awful, or like in certain areas like along this tendon in the bicep. There's going to be these parts where like you're like, oh fuck, I gotta go right now. This fucking sucks.
Dude, the backs of my legs, like, just because I'm never doing the backs of my thighs. Fuck that. Because the backs of my calves, I just feel like I can't control my leg. Like, it'll randomly twitch
Oh,
real
I had that
hard,
same
and
problem.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel bad because I'm like, look,
Fuck
I
your shit up.
absolutely promise you I'm trying to sit still.
Yeah.
But I cannot do anything about it kicking. And I, like, try to not get, like, this, like, or it's this leg that has the outline all the way around, but I need to get it colored. And I'm like, fuck. Because I want to get it colored, but probably like a traditional style coloring, so there's less. So it's not just solid.
Yeah.
And I'm just like putting that off.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Dude,
Yeah.
I got my calves done when I was like I was way younger and way more tough. Like, the older I've gotten, the worse this is
Oh,
gotten.
absolutely.
Dude, when I was I got my I was at Black Cat in Panama City years ago before they shut down. Miguel Oscuega, we lined out both of my calves in one day, and then 3 weeks later we came back and colored both of them for 8-hour sessions, I believe.
Yeah.
And dude, that sucked. And I got drug free on the back of my calves too, back before I discovered weed when I was younger and everything. Oh well, whatever. But years ago, and dude, it was rough, man. It was a rough situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a
Dude,
fan.
one of my least favorite things to hear from somebody is when they see me, and now I look covered, but like they'll see me and be like, dude, I was going to get covered. All right, so where is this going to go? Where is this conversation leading? Because you didn't even already have to say that. You could have just not said that, and we would have been fine.
Yeah.
Probably in better shape than when we're going to end this conversation. Because where are you going? I was going to get covered, but. So now I feel like you're going to say something about, like, it's not good to be covered. So why are we talking?
I think everybody's different too. Some people like wear a sleeve really well, and then
Yeah.
others you're like, damn, why'd you cover it? You had nice skin, your arm looked really good.
Yeah.
Good. But it is too about the talent of how you're tattooing and how you're wrapping it around, and because you can accentuate the body a little bit more than just covering it.
Oh, that's one of my main things is I tell people, like, look, most people's problems with tattoos is a problem with bad tattoos, not problems with tattoos.
Yeah.
Most parents, like, when they see their kids' tattoos that once I've tattooed, they go, well, I really like your tattoos. Those are beautiful tattoos. I think those look great. And it's because I made sure the placement was right, made sure it contoured properly, made sure it accentuated the body versus just taking away this flat image that makes it look worse. And bad placement will fuck up someone's body. You'll take a guy's body and remove definition. You'll take a woman's body and remove curve.
Yeah.
And that happens so frequently with tattooers, especially even good tattoos. They'll put good tattoos in a bad area, and they're just like, wow, that black makes that look like shit now. Way to go. You took away the entire contour. And it just screws it up. But if you have a good tattoo, good placement, everything, you can usually do the right thing with a person's body. And then you'll look at someone and go, hey, that's a good tattoo. But then you'll see someone with bad tattoos going, hey, why in the fuck do you have bad tattoos? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You've been on drugs for the last 5 years? What's been happening to you?
Have you ever done like a cosmetic cover, like the nipple, like people who've had breast cancer and they have it removed?
I
and
try to stay away from colorialism stuff.
Yeah.
And that is mostly in that area. Yeah, not my forte.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I don't do it. I don't know how it ages well. I've never studied it. And to be honest, like, I'm too booked out doing what I do and other things that I like doing to really start studying that realm. There's also so many good tattooers that aren't even that far away that crush that shit already.
Yeah.
And I can, once again, I have no problem giving out names, numbers, information, Instagrams, whatever I can do to make sure people are getting good tattoos. I'd much rather that. Like, there's people already crushing, been doing it for 10 years. And, like, I'm not going to touch that. If I start doing it tomorrow, in 10 years, I might do it. But I'm not. They're already there. You have money now. You have the want now. Let's not wait my 10 years. Let's go ahead and get to that person.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. They've been putting the work in. They deserve their dues. I think that a lot of people put in their work and they put in their time and effort in these areas, and they deserve to be recognized for it. Yeah, I think a lot of tattooers get caught up in their own paychecks or their own egos and too much to the point where they refuse to refer things up because going, no, I can do it. And then you end up going, well, you definitely should have not done that.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I'm going to have to fix what you did because your ego wouldn't let you go and say, I definitely should just not done that tattoo.
Good to be mindful, though. And I mean,
you have to be. Yeah. You have to be in this industry. If you're not, you're going to just do a bunch of fucked up tattoos. It happens way too frequently. Anyways, what's your most meaningful tattoo? Let's go ahead and crush this.
You go first.
Yeah.
So I don't have that many. I've got 4 tattoos, and I feel like every one there was a purpose behind them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, you're in this crowd.
I'm the 222 really is
Hey!
is the most meaningful. It has a lot of
Who did that?
purpose.
Shit.
Yeah, most meaningful just because of the impact, and I love the placement. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I recently got another tattoo, and I was telling him, I'm not.
So explain the whole situation so
Okay.
it doesn't sound like you're just bagging on.
I'm not fixing. Okay, so I got a tattoo with my sister.
Okay.
And we've actually been talking about it for years too, but the concept was 2 girls together. We're Irish twins. Can't talk. 10 months apart. We've done almost everything in our life together. So, but we're very, 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 very different people.
Okay.
So swing set. Why not come with that concept? 2 girls on one swing, but we're gonna have it cut in half, and I have mine on my swing set, and she has hers. So Okay, so together, when we put our arms together, the swing set combines, and both girls are sitting on the swing set together.
Okay.
So a couple of things happened in the situation. We designed something together, me and my sister, and then she gave it to her artist and scheduled a time, and we just went for it. Now, when we designed it, I thought it was a concept.
Yeah.
You know, just this is a rough draft. This is not the actual draft. It was the actual fucking draft. Didn't know that, though, until I went and actually got a tattoo, and I was like, all right, that's cool. Whimsical. And that's all right. That's my spirit anyway.
You can show him so he gets an idea of what you mean.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
We pretty much drew that, man. And whenever he went to go do it...
So rough draft became final draft.
Fucking final. And then whenever he also did the tattoo, I think it's trial and error too, but we were on the different sides. And so he actually had to, after he put the stencil, I suppose, on us, then had to get rid of some stuff in freehand. But in the middle of doing it, when he did my sister's, he did hers first, and then he goes to do mine, and he almost forgot. So I almost got the same damn side she got, so it was a little bit whatever. But do I think his work is great? This is still nice. This is exactly what we wanted. This is exactly what we ordered.
Perfect.
So I am not upset with it. When I look at his artwork, at first I was like, damn, okay, so this is kind of his forte.
Yeah.
It's not. He does watercolor. So like when I think had I known that going in, I would know, hey, you're not really good with the definitive lines, or that's not your cup of tea, and we'll work around that, and we'll do something different, because I don't think I would have went for the dark outlines so much. Less whimsical. Good tattoo, decent, you know, but not what I was expecting. But again, I also didn't get much
Yeah,
purview.
so in your opinion, is that lack of communication?
Absolutely.
Well, I wanted him to say it was your fault, but I just wanted him to get there. You just jumped the gun a little bit.
Well, I'm not upset about it. I'm not upset about it. It still has a lot of value to me.
It's a little lack of communication. It's also tattoo responsibility to make sure you get a good tattoo, no matter if you came in with a goofy drawing or not.
I seen it whenever I went in there. I knew what I was getting myself into before he
tattooed
me.
Yeah, I would have right off thing been like, hey.
You saying tattooers aren't good at line work. Like, that immediately is like, that's step one of like, hey, you should be able to draw a line.
Oh, but see,
that's step one of tattooing. I'm not. Yeah. I don't know who this is. Don't tell me. Yeah, don't tell me names. But that's like day one stuff. Like, you're supposed to be able to. If you can pull a good solid line, you can do a lot of tattoos. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be doing tattoos. Well, that's day one things.
His other artwork that I've seen, phenomenal. He did a whole tattoo, like it's a Indian, and on one side of her where she's got the feathers, it kind of expands out, and it's a wolf. And then on the bottom side, it fades into it like the scenery, but it's her true picture of this woman, and it looks just like the original image.
Okay.
Fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Shading is wonderful. His watercolor is beautiful.
That happens with a lot of tattooers. A lot of tattooers get stuck in just what they can do.
Yeah.
And not anything outside of that. So you end up with tattooers are these one-trick ponies.
Yeah.
And I think that's almost a disservice and if you're doing anything outside of that.
Yeah.
Because like in our shop, like there is like, don't get me wrong, like I said, I do realism, Josh does traditional, Chauncey does traditional. Alex does like this neo-traditional new school thing that he does. And with that though, most of us can crush anything outside of that film. Even Ryan. Ryan does a lot of just wild, cool looking lucid dream traditional stuff.
Is he part of the studio now, or is he just
Dude,
visiting?
Because
he's from Fort Weldon, isn't he?
No, so he's been with us since we opened the place, but he's just in the wind constantly. I don't know how else to describe him. He is such a free spirit. That guy he'll be with us, and the next thing I'll get a phone call. He'll be like, "Yeah, man, I'm gone for like the next 6 months." I'm like, "All right, I'll see you in 6 months, man. I hope you have a good trip. If you need anything, call me. Let me know if you need anything at all."
Yeah.
And there's no telling how the fuck he's doing anything or what. He's got an entire van fitted to where he can literally tattoo in the woods.
Does he look like Chris Farley?
No, fucking
No,
Lord.
no.
No, he looks like the guy from Duck Dynasty. Like
Okay.
he went as him for 1 year for Halloween. Like it's verbatim.
wow.
Dude, he's pretty close. But yeah, no, once again, someone who can crush it. They just take things and just do it.
Yeah.
But we're also not going to tell you that, hey, we can do this tattoo when we only do this. Like, if I'm only doing portraits and you come in and go, yeah, I want this new school, or you want an anime tattoo, I'm like, yeah, I ain't your guy.
Yeah.
There's a point where if it's a responsibility of a tattooer going, yeah, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
Well,
again, I'm not upset with
Well,
that.
it's not bad.
I
It's
will
not bad.
say this
Yeah.
in defense of everyone involved. My interpretation of what happened was like he got the thing and he's like, someone else drew this, like maybe her daughter. Yeah. And this is quite literally, she wants this exactly done like this.
Yeah.
You know, like a little kid draws a note, and it's like,
Yeah.
I love you,
Oh, we do
Daddy.
that, yeah.
And
I've
it's
done-
like, I love you, Daddy. But you don't want it changed at all.
No, you want
want
the
it as
scratchy
messed up.
handwriting
Yeah, I
or
want
the
it-
weird, like, this is our family
So
and
I'm
it's all
thinking
strict
he
figures.
was looking at her and was like, this isn't her doing it. It's for her by someone else.
Yeah.
Not touching
Their
it.
kids drew this, obviously,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
some crayon.
And
Did you
there
draw
just was
did you draw it in
never-
crayon? Like,
Right? And then I was second party. I let Amber handle that, so that's why I wasn't even mad. It
We were
was
so
a whole
far
experience.
removed from the process.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of
So
the final product that you were just like, yeah, that's fine. And you're so nice.
but it was a very, like I said, it was a unique experience. I wanted to go do it.
but you're doing it for the experience, not so much for the tattoo itself anyway. So even if it was
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
bad,
absolutely.
Even if it got chopped up dog shit that got infected afterwards, just to be
Right.
like, well, I got it with her for this
Yeah.
purpose. And sometimes that's a bigger meaning than just
Yeah.
the tattoo itself.
Shoot, probably the worst. This sounds awful of me to even say this. That tattoo.
Yeah.
Like so when we got married, we decided that we were gonna get a tattoo, and at first I'm like, okay, whatever. My thought was on the bottom of my fucking foot, like Woody from Toy Story.
I've done that.
And one of the tattoo artists,
It's a cool idea.
it's a really cool idea. Well,
Joe, that's not a lot of letters.
no, it's not. We can cover that shit up,
That's
and maybe
real
it'll
quick,
callus
you're
off.
like,
And
it won't be as painful as like fucking Joseph.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his buddy is a tattoo artist, so we were gonna go see him, and he had just opened a shop, and so we're talking to him, and he's like, "No, you don't want that shit on your foot," and I'm like, "Come on," and he's like, "You don't want it on your foot. It's gonna callus. It's gonna go away." And I was like, "That's kind of the fucking point, because then like you never know what's gonna happen, and if it lasts and I like it, let's move it somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. We'll redo it again." So
Well, how married were you? Like, how long into the marriage?
like I don't even think days.
Oh wow,
Or-
You got that days into?
I'd have
in
talked
the
you out of
marriage.
it.
Yeah, but they were together.
We had
They're
been
still
together
currently
for.
together. By the
Okay,
way.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
I would have talked you out of it then. I'm just being honest. Like,
I
I'd
wish
like,
dude would have too, but
no, that's a big old no.
Price. He's a local artist. I can't remember his first name. Brandon Price.
I know, Brandon. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's talking me out, and I'm like, okay, fine. We're not going to do that. So Joe came up with another idea, and our symbol's an infinity symbol. So I'm really big into
Real original, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. Fuck shut
Super
off.
original.
Didn't see it coming.
Not at all.
It was either that or a heart.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. He goes to do it.
Should have got
Hold
dandelion.
on.
fucking
Should have got the
connect.
dandelion with the.
Right. It doesn't even connect.
Hey, that's
So to
that's
me,
a sign.
that's symbolic
That's a sign,
altogether.
bruh.
But
Joe,
like,
I love you, but something
to a
happened. Bro.
point.
like Brandon, do you see that shit? There's a ending point here. I just don't know where it's at. Can you help me out? But he's a really good artist, so he wanted to let me know heads up, like certain things you want to do and you don't want to do. He's like, you don't want to connect that shit. It's gonna look like shit. And then it's all eventually it might morph or something could happen to where it doesn't look appropriate. You might not be able to read Joe appropriately. I don't freaking know. But that going into it, I think I was bitter because I couldn't get the tattoo on my foot like I freaking wanted.
Yeah.
So the whole time, like, and that's a nerve thing too. So I'm trying not to like bop my hand, but bitter about it. Even leaving, I'm like, fucking scab up, do something you're not supposed to do. Like, oh,
Dude, our dad is super bad. Like, he'll get a tattoo and literally right after getting the tattoo, jump in a chlorine pool because he doesn't like the tattoo. And I'm like, that isn't how to combat not liking the tattoo. How about you address it before you get the tattoo?
I would just get a good tattoo. Dude, I had a friend of mine in Georgia who you would literally go, yeah, I'm going to let it scab up. I'm going to pick him up. I was like, why? He's like, I like my tattoos looking a little worn. I was like,
Hey, it'll get there.
just
Don't
wear
worry
it.
about
Just
it.
wear it. You don't have to fuck it up to
Yeah.
begin with. And he would just do
Jesus.
that. No matter how good the tattoo was, he would fuck it up immediately.
That's crazy.
Yeah, just some hillbilly shit, dude. That's simple as that.
what's your most meaningful?
Meaningful, it's got to be like as conceited as it sounds as the smile
Yeah.
or the 222 because they mean the same thing to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a reminder to just like, this tooth shall pass, good or bad. I also have that on me.
Yeah.
This too shall pass.
Nice.
And then I also have lesson learned. And they're all pretty much the same vein of like, it's okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, even if it feels forced, smiling will make you feel better over time.
Yeah.
Like, finding the higher ground of like wherever you're at, like, it's going to be okay.
I'd be out in public like randomly and I'd hit it off with someone and we'd start chit chatting and all of a sudden they'd move right and I'd be like, what the fuck is on your arm?
Yeah.
And it would be smile. I'm like, look, I've only met a handful of people. Do you know Cody? And like, yeah, I know Cody. We ain't got the. Yeah, I bet you fucking did. What the hell? Like, in just small world, just really.
There's
really
like
small
13
world.
people that have that.
Awesome.
Like, one day there was like, I was hanging out with a friend group, like, I don't know, like 10 or 12 years ago now. And I had already had that on and everybody liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, they were like, what are you doing today? And I was like, well, I am actually going to get a tattoo today. And I was getting the filler on my neck. And everybody was like, do you think he has time to do other things? And I was like, I can ask him.
Yeah.
And of course, he was into the idea of like 10 other fucking people getting
Yeah.
tattooed. Really easy tattoos
Yeah.
back to back to back to back.
Of course.
And he was like, yes. So like 10 people that day got that tattoo. And then
Damn.
you don't have it?
No, I want it. That was one of the tattoos I wanted.
Yeah. I think like
and I
13
will.
people total have it. And
Damn.
you and my mom still want to get it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Pretty neat, though. Different.
Yeah. I think it's nice because it's not like dates or like in memorandum of or in memory of or
Yeah.
like, because I don't want it ever, I don't want like my face tattooed on somebody or like a in loving memory thing.
Yeah.
I want it to be that because people won't look at it and think sorry for them.
Yeah.
They'll just be like, they'll also take it as a,
Yeah.
it's a universal sign, like smile.
You
Oh, yeah.
trademark that shit.
Well, I try to do that when it comes to any kind of remembrance tattoos. I'm like, hey, let's remember the person, not just the ending. Let's
Yeah.
take them as a person. Like, hey, they liked airplanes. Let's do a
celebration.
cool. Let's celebrate
hard.
their life and take their life and make it something you can remember. Versus just going, hey, the end of their life was let's going to remember this one bad time, this one bad experience, and that's why even the semicolon thing, I try to like, hey, and let's just like you're just advocating for suicide awareness. Let's advocate for the person. Let's take it beyond just the this one moment and go, hey, their entire life was so much more than just this one moment. Let's make it bigger. And so something as simple as like smile tattoo, but not everyone's going to be heavily tattooed. That's going to want has a smile tattoo on them.
Yeah.
So like you're the lucky few. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean that's pretty much the gist of all the tattoo questions I had. Like I know there's like other types of questions. Like here's a question I had for another group of people, but they didn't have a good answer.
Okay.
And I don't think there is a good answer because I think it's just like perspective.
Yeah.
How come your back is called your back, but you do not call your front your front?
Why wouldn't you call it your front?
What?
Well, you don't. Nobody calls it their front.
I'll say my front side or my back side.
Okay, but I'm about to blow everything up. Okay,
Okay,
so
let's go.
when you're like, I hurt my back, everybody knows what the fuck you're talking about. When you say I hurt my front, they think you're retarded. You're like, yo, I think I hurt my front.
There's nothing else on my
Hey.
back. It's a crack and then my ass. So like,
Yeah, but
there's
you're
no
talking about
guessing.
your spine. You're talking about the upper part of your shoulders.
When you say back, okay, good one. When somebody says, "Oh, my stomach hurts," you're not gonna say, "Oh, my fucking intestines are killing me." My lower
Well, when I
abdominal,
think
my
you're-
colon's really about to blow the fuck up. No,
Well, those
you
are
say.
different things.
But in your stomach and your digestive system, it's one thing. But when we say stomach, sometimes it's actually our intestines. Your stomach is this little tiny thing way up here, and that's the first part of digestion. So it's different.
I mean, that is a good point, but you didn't
still
answer.
don't-
my
I was
question.
like,
There's a bunch of shit
we
over
just-
here.
we just deflect the-
What, if you were to say your back, you're saying
Any part of my back could
okay.
at this point.
But why don't you call your front then?
Because there's probably somewhere specific anywhere.
I
If
mean,
you-
are we talking about covered with tattoos, or are we talking for
No,
tattoo
like-
related, or we're just talking about in general? Because if tattoo related, we can go my front's covered, not my back.
Ooh, yeah.
That works, but
like
you're
this work,
specific
but-
into this
Yeah.
field.
Oh, my back hurts. It's probably my spine.
Like,
or I'm gonna
you
be
know,
like my
I'll
shoulder
give you a good example.
blade. I don't-
Mike Tyson won a fight or lost a
Spinal?
fight, maybe.
my back hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I broke my back. My back is broken.
Spinal,
And he's
Yeah,
yeah.
like,
spinal.
yeah. What
yeah,
happened to
yeah.
your back, Mike? It's spinal. So you clearly understand what he couldn't have said. I broke my front.
Yeah.
What the fuck did you break if it's your front?
Ribs. It's gonna be. I mean, it's still this. I guess I get what your point saying though.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I think maybe it has to do with the orientation of where your spine is, and in front there's not bones all the way, so your lower part doesn't have bones. There's no bones right here.
No.
It's just like whatever
Muscle
you got
and-
built there.
Yeah.
And then you have ribs up here, so if you break your front, definitely got to be bones. But if your front hurts, what hurts? Yeah, chill on
I'm
that,
stuck
dude.
on
I'm out.
spinal.
I'm out.
I watched the video 1,000 times and all I
Yeah.
get spinal.
It's spinal.
Spinal.
Yeah.
Like, just can't.
Dude, me and Tobin
Okay.
love that shit, dude.
No.
That's rough.
That's a real. And this is a question that I've always had that I don't think people understand. So you're gonna answer, but I don't think you understand what I'm asking.
Okay.
Water is wet, but in its natural state, is it cold or warm? Like in its absolute molecular state,
Molecular. It's
whatever. Yeah, molecular.
I got you, boo. That's another one. All right.
Molecular state.
Yeah.
Is it cold or warm?
It would be what it's consistent around, correct? Like room temperature. Like if room is cold,
Okay.
then that component would
Yeah,
be
but
cold.
that's not its molecular state.
It probably. You looked it up. You know the answer.
I don't.
So then you're probably. I got this one. Okay. I'm gonna say the environment, whatever is
Yeah.
surrounding it. Yeah.
I have no idea. I know that if you put so water's wet, but when you put yourself in water, it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like, are you actually wet, or
That's
is it
what
just
I
the
was
water
go-
around you
I
wet?
thought he was gonna ask
and
that.
then I
Yeah,
thought that's
yeah.
where you were going to go with
Yeah.
this.
No, because I've heard that question. And
Fuck that question.
you are wet by water. Water makes you wet.
But you're insoluble. So are you really wet?
You do eventually soak.
You don't. Okay.
You become Mormonish.
prune. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You say Mormonish?
Yes, he
Mormonish,
did.
because they
Like,
soak. They just sit inside, you know? That's what you're doing with the water. You're just sitting inside it.
Okay.
Okay.
You know? Another one. I'm just going to
Yeah.
breeze by
Let's
some of
keep
these,
going.
okay?
Let's go. Yeah.
So how come you can go head bald, but you cannot go beard bald? Someone does not become bearded and then become unbearded
Yeah,
over
they do.
time.
Alopecia.
This is true?
This
Yeah.
is true.
Alopecia.
They lose their beard?
And it can also happen from stress.
Any of their
Yeah.
hair.
Any hair. It can
Facial
happen on any
hair.
part of the body. Yeah. Eyebrows, anything. Yeah. And it's due to stress usually.
That's why we
Really?
called Allie because she didn't have any hair for alopecia. So stupid, but I
Really?
swear to God. Yeah.
I've never seen someone go beard bald.
Yeah.
But typically
It's
like
it's
all of
typically
it.
ends up being like a patch on a hair or like eyebrow
Oh, you're
starts
talking
missing.
like the
But
white...
no,
No.
like a section of hair will be just boom, gone, or like a section of beard just gone,
Yeah.
and it'll just be skin. It won't. It literally will look like smooth skin.
Yep, no follicles, no
nothing.
nothing.
And it sometimes comes back if it's stress induced.
I think there's a jiu-jitsu practitioner called Gary Tonin that has this. Because it looks like he was just doing that jackass thing where it's it's like,
yeah.
Because he used to have a full beard. And then he just started having weird spots missing. And I was just like, he's just being silly. Because he is a silly dude.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if he's doing jiu-jitsu, it might just feel like rubbing on a mat a million times and then...
I don't know.
That's a good term. You should trademark that. Beard balding.
Beard balding?
Beard balding. Never
beard
heard
bald.
that. Yeah.
Beard bald.
Also, here's another hair question.
Okay.
How come, like, certain parts of your body have different color hair?
How come you have to cut your hair on your head?
Why'd you do this? You go.
Because I had two questions. Sorry.
Hey,
I'll go.
who is this? That's considered one, okay?
Yeah.
How come you have to cut the hair on your head and it continues to grow, but other parts of your hair, there's a point in which it stops?
Tiffany, I was asking these questions. I was getting there.
I need a response from you. I don't understand that.
Yeah, how come your arm hair just stops?
You can't do that. I just asked the question.
You know?
I don't know why it stops. I have no idea. I know
That's
that,
not fair. Like,
I know if like you wear
breed...
pants, like it will rub your thigh hair away over time.
Yeah, the shit by my balls is like a baby's butt. It is no hair.
But your eyebrow
but my
hair,
balls?
shit, your eyebrow hair only grows so far. Your nose hair is only so far.
Mine will keep going. I gotta trim
it's
these.
a genetic thing. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
one.
no, mine's the
How
same
come
way.
your eyelashes only go so long?
Yeah. Well,
Who are
all...
we asking? Because none of us are answering.
No one's answering.
There's no way. I don't know. That's always baffled me. I don't understand. Supposedly, we were genetically
evolved this way.
Yes, for certain reasons, and I still don't understand that because again, if my hair was intended to be a purpose of coverage, which is what they say, then wouldn't my at this point, fucking Florida's sunny as fuck. My eyebrows should be on my forehead.
They should go over a little bit. Like, give me some shade.
Yeah,
dude.
like
now I get the concept of the eyelashes. It protects from shading in your eyes. What is eyebrows for?
It's also a shading thing, like mechanism. No, I swear to God, I watched a documentary on it. And
I think I have the best eyebrow structure in here, and I don't mean like the way it's hair.
Yeah.
My things go over my eyes pretty good.
No, I got Cro-Magnon shit too, man. It's the same way. Yeah,
I feel like I was doing this a lot in the back in the day. You know, I was like, what on Horizon?
I have a hard time believing some of that though, because even if the skin tone, they say that that's kind of why it's darker than other things, because genetically you were born and where you were at, your body adapted. And if that's the case, then how come everybody's skin tone is still so diverse? And even though we're in one common area,
well, traveling has only happened so recently.
Yeah,
I know that like
takes a
there's
long
time. I know that certain things like tendons and wrists, if your ancestry comes from people that were more like cliff dwelling or people that were climbing more, you'll have 3 tendons versus 2. That's pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something. I have 3.
That's wicked.
Yeah, I learned that from a friend of mine in Denver. Yeah.
Oh man.
Another one is like about the hair. How come some location?
Why is it all hair?
He's got a problem. You can get laser hair.
He's got a problem.
I'm seeing it bothers you.
You were like
he's in the back eating hair or something.
I know you're yelling at him, but he's got a problem.
He's just picking it out. That's what he was wondering. Go ahead.
But like, I have darker hair on my body in certain places.
Yeah.
My nut area. But like then my hair on my arm is almost see-through. But then this hair is brown. But then like this is almost orange.
I think it's just due to your bloodline. Like I said, I'm part Mexican. So some part of my hair, like my hair's thicker, it's got a little bit more of a coarse to it, but it's just brown. And like I'll have patches of hair, like randomly I'll pull red hair on my beard. I'm like, thanks, Dad. Like I think that's just weird genetic stuff. Like you're like this hodgepodge of like, hey, we're gonna throw 90 different things in this bowl and figure out what the fuck's gonna come out of it. And you're gonna get a little bit of red, some yellow. We're gonna see how this thing comes out. And you're a little weird monster.
I never understood that. The beard always is eclectic.
Dude, it's always
every color's in a fucking beard.
Also, how come like private parts are certain colors? Like, why are your balls a different color than like? And like some, girl stuff is like, yo, why is that like darker? Like, why is your butthole brown? But then some buttholes are like pink and stuff.
Well, I would
bleaching.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd attribute that to some kind of cleanliness of some sort, whether or not she bleached.
Also, you said hair grows to protect you. I got a lot of asshole hair.
Yeah, look.
What's up? And what am I trying to protect? I need things out.
It's an exit only. We don't need anything going back in.
It should be something
it's
like
a
this.
Venus flytrap.
Not,
the hair's coming this way.
It's trying to cup my butt.
That's because at this point your ass has forced it back. It's actually.
I got a fat ass.
Yeah, well, if you shave it, it's definitely gonna prick back. So,
dude, I have once. Look, I had staff
wax.
from working at Perdido Bay Golf Club. They were ball cleaners. It was part of my job to clean them, and they would be infested with fucking spiders.
Gotcha.
And I'm like 16, and I'm like popping pimples in the bathroom, and then I got a big fucking thing on my face, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Go to the hospital. They're like, "You have staph. It's MRSA. You're gonna have this shit for the rest of your life. You just gotta kind of take care of it."
Yeah.
Well, I shaved my asshole one time, and I got a bump like this. Like, I literally could put my thumb and touch my asshole and the bump. And it got so bad that I was like, I kind of get a vibrant energy about, like, if this is going to become bad or if I can, like, weather the storm without going to the hospital. And it got to a point where I was out of the shower one day, and I was sitting down, and I was like, I can't sit down straight. I got to kind of, like, lean. Yeah. I got to go. I go, and he has to stab my ass.
I'm
okay? Hey.
That's the closest you've been to being gay, so you know.
It's not the closest. I've kissed guys.
No, that's nothing. A butthole? We are intimate,
He had to stab it and squeeze the shit out and just like...
That's rough, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, doc, I'm so sorry about this. Because it's like, trust me, I didn't want it to happen. And I was like, what do I got to do moving forward? Because, like, I don't want, like, a lot of foliage back there, you know? And he's like, you just can't shave your asshole. And I'm like,
God.
Okay.
Look, you can still wax
You can trim it. He's like, you can trim it. You just can't go beard bald back there.
Beard bald?
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay. Which is, I always get a fear if I do, like, just get a whiskey hair. I'm going to fucking shave it bald. I'm always in fear that, like, it could get weird because I do jiu-jitsu and CrossFit, and I'm like,
shit, yeah.
I move around a lot.
You ever had staph?
Yeah, once. On a tattoo.
It'll scar you.
Oh, yeah, it did.
Shit, on a tattoo.
Yeah, that thing's fucked, right? Yeah. My little brother, Jake Rodriguez, he tattoos in Atlanta. We were out in Fort Walton, and he was still at the end of his apprenticeship. And I was like, dude, I want this neo-traditional rose. He slapped it on my leg, and then we fell asleep. We were staying at this guy's house. We were living there at one point, and I fell asleep on his couch. His couch was fucking grody, dude. I woke up, the bandage moved, and it healed to the couch. I pulled it off. And I was like, that's going to get gross. And, dude, my shoe wouldn't fit. My whole leg swole up. It got bad. It was sensitive for a year. Dude, it was fucked up.
Yeah.
It was gross. Yeah.
I've had it a few times, too. Yeah, I went to a New Year's party, and I had, someone gave me a belt. And I put it on, and throughout the night, it just kind of like rubbed my stomach a little bit. And I guess I had maybe got an ingrown hair or something.
Yeah.
But ended up with this little tiny spot. I was like, man, a spider must have bit me. And then within the course of 2 days, it was huge on my stomach. Oof. When I went in, the guy gave me an antibiotic, and he's like, you're to the point where it's going to rupture. And if it doesn't in the next day or two, then you can come in. And my boss was like, don't come in. Wait 2 days, and if it doesn't rupture, then go to the hospital. But wait to come back. We'll get a clearance. Yeah. And the second day came. I needed money so damn bad. But we worked. It was 3 people in this whole office, so we're kind of secluded from one another. But I had a bandage over it just in case. Nothing had ever. I mean, it didn't even have a head. It looked like an eraser, like the end of an eraser, the circle. That was like the darkest spot at the very top, and then it was like a huge ring around it. It was red.
It's like Dr. Pepper popper shit.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that raised because like the way it looked like almost all flat. But if you touched it, you could feel the hardness. But I was filing, and I went to go bend down to put something in there, and I didn't even notice. But I went to go pull my shirt down, and when I did, I looked down, and it had ruptured everywhere. I about vomited. I can't do any kind of bodily fluids like that. But it was like a water hose. Just kept. I can't do that shit.
Shit doesn't bother me. Yeah. I've never been bothered by this. Liposuction freaks me out.
Oh my god.
Shit's gross. Look. I don't know. I can't watch a video of it, dude. That shit freaks me out.
Dude.
Something about that warm straw where they're.
Do you have a problem with hoarders?
No. I take it back.
Hey,
I take that back.
There's an episode where this lady was hoarding shit.
Literal shit.
Literal shit.
I saw one with a guy with newspapers, and it had a bunch of dead rats everywhere, and they kept finding more and more.
I didn't watch that episode yet, but I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and Shane Gillis was on, and he's like, "You got to watch the poop episode." There's this one that you can literally Google or YouTube "poop lady hoarders," and it'll come up. She didn't know it was a problem.
Why? Like, why are you you're bagging it?
She would. This is the issue.
I hope.
She said she knew the septic tank was full and that the toilet was full enough that if she flushed it would overflow, and she didn't want to deal with it. So she took a Home Depot bucket and started using that. And then when that would get full, she took a smaller bucket and would empty that into a bucket, or a smaller cup and empty that into a smaller bucket and go throw it out front.
Oh, God.
But she would, like, if she didn't throw it out front, she would put it in those spring water big bucket, fucking gallon whatevers, and she would just keep them in the bathroom. Bro, if you want to feel bad for a long time, watch this episode. No. Or if you want to feel good about yourself, watch this. This is a motivational type deal.
Oh, my God. I don't need any help to...
I could just flush a toilet, man. Like, I think that's just...
Absolutely. I'm going to call somebody to actually fix my septic if there's an issue there as well.
Dude, and she was like, the hoarding people were like, do you not notice the smell in here? And she goes, no, I don't. And she goes, I actually do. It's like a musty smell. And they're like, yeah. And they're like, what do you think that is? She goes,
you get accent to it.
The musty smell is from the mold in the walls.
Oh, that makes it better.
Okay, you don't think it's from the feces in the house? And she goes, you think it's from the feces in the house? She goes, because that's news to me.
Jesus.
That is not news to you. Now, I will tell you this. She was born that way. Like, her mom was doing that already. So she had picked that behavior up. Like, her mom was already doing the hoarding thing and the, like, I'll do this in bottles and leave it around.
Well, so then that raises, can she even be blamed? She didn't know anything.
No, yes.
She was literally ignorant.
She's been around people before.
And you know what bothers me?
She knew better.
She's seen people. She's been to one other house before. They got it's wild how there's not bottles of shit everywhere.
I don't know. Like, but think
you think
about
that
it.
she's never been to one house before?
I mean,
not even one.
But I can remember the very first friend
to a store and seen, like, what is that room?
I guess.
I've seen, like, Lysol one time. God.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Damn, that smells weird.
I don't disagree with that.
I hate to say this because my mom has hoarding tendencies.
Yeah.
But she doesn't hoard, like... She hoards trash stuff, but not, like, food trash. She'll, like... Basically, our studio looks like trash, so she'll just hoard all this type of shit. And she'll just be like this, and it'll be a room full of this stuff.
Like, it starts eclectic, and then it gets more and more. Yeah.
She'll be like, I saw a tricycle, and it had one wheel. And I'm like, so you're going to find the other two wheels? What is going on here?
Well, see, I know
I think somebody will buy this.
Yeah.
Okay, when are you going to sell it? Well, we'll have a big yard sale. Okay, when is that going to happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
But hoarding comes in different ways. But I think, like, I even grew up with people that first time I ever slept over at someone's house, baby roaches like everywhere, and my mom's like,
I don't fuck with roaches.
I don't either. But my mom is really OCD, and we don't have any bugs. You don't do any of that. Like, if there's something that attracts it, it's no longer allowed in the house. It's banned completely. But to her, it was no big deal. Like, literally in the shower, trying to take a shower, and like Joe's apartment, it was everywhere. Roaches. Just watching me, but she was totally comfortable. That was her atmosphere. She didn't have a problem with it. We'd sit and we'd be playing, and the fucking bugs everywhere, no problem. I couldn't even sleep, but that was natural to her.
Can't do it.
Yeah,
that stuff drives me crazy. I can't do anything with that. Hell, I remember once when I was younger, we got scared by a bunch of daddy long legs that were deciding to nest outside my my godmother's door, and I remember freaking out. I couldn't do roaches. That would scare the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Dude, I just don't like it because I wish roaches had to make a noise like a bark or something, because it's like, the thing is,
Madagascar, they do the hissing one.
well, I don't trust that.
It's big motherfuckers.
Those things are fucking big.
Yeah, I know.
They smell so bad.
I just can't.
I know.
I just don't like it because they're sneaky.
Wood roaches.
Well,
Let me know you're around.
We live in Florida too with those big ass water bugs too.
Yeah,
every palm
the
tree.
roaches will come in here. There's two big ass trees. There's one in the front yard.
Every palm tree has them. Every palm tree has them.
And the thing is, like, I wish if I could have a power, one random power I wish I could just kind of have is being able to communicate with animals and then know what the fuck I'm saying. Because I'd be like, get the fuck out of the house, dude. You're not welcome here.
I swear to fucking God, this sounds like a
Look,
lunatic.
I will murder you. You come in the house. You stay in the garage. But then I turn on the light, you just hide. And you're good. I promise I will not fuck with you. If I see you, I have to kill you.
If I see a roach, we make eye contact.
It's on sight, buddy.
No, I can't touch them. I can't because there's a whole thing.
I'll
like,
grab
I can
a
feel,
weapon.
Hell no. Yeah, I'll grab a shoe. I'll do something like that. But I can feel or hear a clicking in my ear, and it's like uncontrollable until the thing dies.
Dude.
I don't know what it is, but I fucking can't stand
Did
it.
Dad tell you what happened to him?
Yes. Oh my god.
Tell him.
Oh, dude. Okay.
I'm ready.
Let's
go.
Like,
This
fucking
just
hurts.
recently happened.
Like it was like a year
tough.
ago. But my dad, they live in a trailer that's right by a lake, right by a lake, and the insulation underneath the trailer isn't so good, and they're constantly having shit that comes up to the bottom anyway. So there's already shit in the house, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's a huge alcoholic. He goes to sleep when he passes out at night. He's fucking out. Well, one morning he's fixing to get up for work, and he thinks his alarm is going off. Well, it turns out it's not his fucking alarm. Something is in his ear, and it's like going to town. And when he realizes it, he freaks out, and he tells his girl, whatever she is, and she comes in and they try to like foam it out, like put some peroxide in, put some alcohol in. But every time they put something in his ear,
Gets more wild.
Yes, and he starts to burrow even further. So Dad starts to freak out. They end up going to the emergency room, and sure enough, they end up getting the bug out. And I can't remember what all they ended up doing, but a piece of him came out. Not even the whole freaking thing came out initially. And the bug, like this big. Yes.
There's a bunch of videos on Instagram of that. Well, they'll take oil and pour it in and then get it out, or the moths will burrow in the ear and they can take them out with light.
He slept with earplugs for the first couple of months.
Which makes you
I'd
feel...
still do it. If
You're right.
Which makes you feel like that whole, like, they say humans eat, like, 13 spiders a year or some shit.
Well, yeah.
It makes you feel like that's absolutely true.
I'd put money on
something
that.
can get in
There's
my
no way
ear-
it's not. Like,
I don't know about 13, but there's got to be, like, you eat some insects a year.
There's bliss and abstinence and ignorance, you know?
Yeah, I would like to be blissfully ignorant.
Yeah, I
don't want to know about this. Like, if I could just have a blindness to roaches, like I couldn't see them, like they were just camouflaged to me or something.
It's like you were like hypnotized and you couldn't see roaches anymore. Like, bam.
Dude. Do you believe in hypnotism?
I have no idea, dude. I've watched it once.
I want to be hypnotized because I want to stop chewing my fingers.
I don't think everybody can be hypnotized.
I can't stop.
Just
to the point where I'm like ruining fingernails.
Just put something on your fingers. Don't they have like that bitter stuff?
Chew it the fuck off. That's the problem. My teeth don't know. Like, hey, they're determined.
You gotta find another habit. Whatever you're doing, this is a nervous trait. Find something else.
I can only do this so much.
Yeah, there's only so many.
Yeah, I put a rubber band on my wrist.
Calluses.
You can pop it
to it.
No, on your fucking wrist.
Like, that's a new technique. I was sure of. I was like,
it reduces the blood
like,
flow.
It goes right back. I don't have to use as much energy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good God.
No, that shit's something different.
A rubber band on my hand?
Yeah, like I used to.
Well, help you not chew your fingernails?
Well, they say whenever you go to do it, you pop it.
Yeah.
It makes you associate it with pain.
Yeah. Everyone's
I'm gonna
different.
realize I don't have to do that. I'm gonna chew my nails.
So I'm
gonna go. Well, that was dumb.
I'll do it as
I'm
like
stressed about the next painful pop.
I do it as a change of behavior. So like I would bite my nails or I would pick up my fingernails.
Damn, I'm doing it right
now. I won't paint them, but I'll wear a ponytail and I'll just wrap my fingers around it. Or you'll see me with in between two fingers and I'm trying to just slow or
in
fast.
High school, I used to do this because like there was this cool kid
with a clicking of the pen.
I can't remember what the fuck his name was, but they did this.
Yeah.
And like I would be busy doing that instead of like chewing my fingers. Like because there was a record. Like there was a record at the school and it was like 300 something in a row consistently, no drops.
Yeah.
And so that's all I wouldn't chew my fingernails then. Because I had a thing I could do with my hand as a competition.
Get a fidget spinner or some shit.
Yeah.
There's a million fidget things now since everyone has ADD all of a sudden.
Right.
Dude, just get some fidget shit. Like, my kids have more fidget, whatever the hell, poppets, fidget spinners, little. There's like a molecule one you can fidget around and make it all different colors. Get a Rubik's cube.
Ever tried to solve a Rubik's cube?
No, I don't.
On a Rubik's cube.
And a Rubik's cube, or whatever the fuck I said. I don't know.
Rubik's cube.
Rubik's. Okay.
A Rubik's?
No, you're right.
Aruba?
Aruba cube.
Aruba cube.
The girls had a steam night, and everybody was building the American flag, and so
steam night.
Steam night. It's
what is that?
Science.
Oh, I thought you meant like they were steaming.
Like a steam, like a
Yeah.
You're rich now. You got a steam room?
A sauna, but we had to put like American flag through that. So you had to have one line of the white and blue, or make a star or whatever. Yes, and the teacher passes them out to everybody. She's like, get as many as you possibly can. I'm like, I can't fucking do this shit. And then Brianna got one, and I was like, I don't fucking think so.
She solved one?
Yes, and Brianna, she's 9 years old. There ain't no way in hell. And love my child. She's special
like
in my eyes.
Ed off of Ed, Ed and Eddie, the big tall one.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of space, a lot of air, and
but she's fun. She's gonna be a good person. She'll be smart.
She is. Academically, she's there. Yeah. The rest of them, like, I don't even fucking know.
There's plenty of people like that around. Look, those people are architects. They're great.
Absolutely.
They're in a building
and
by
y'all
themselves.
are criticizing me about front back.
Like, she probably told you that shit.
Me and her have meetings.
I'm gonna hurt my front.
But so she fixes one. I'm like, damn, it's on. Challenge accepted. My oldest one ended up getting like 3 or 4. I'm like, fuck, I got this shit. But I ended up getting a couple of them too. I'm like, damn, so hard, so fucking hard. But there's a pattern. There's a routine, and when you find out what it is and can get to the groove, shit, you can get it. How was that?
Every time I've tried to do one, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't care, and I put it down, and then never ever touch it again. Like I've never
buy one and just fuck with
just buy one that's already done and just go. I did this. This is me. This
just put it in a glass cube.
Yeah,
like,
no one will ever ask questions like, "Damn, he's smart." Like, you just walk by.
Damn, he's smart.
What is that other toy where it's got the 3 different pieces up top and it's got the ball and you gotta flip it and put it on the little cylinder?
You're not talking about a kendama.
Yes, I am. I don't know how to say it. You ever play with one of those?
We have one in the shop.
Yeah, they're so fucking... I got really good at them, and I bought like a whole bunch of them. I have one in my room, I have one in my car, I have one in my book bag, I have one there.
And you're still chewing your nails.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying.
I got good at that, and...
It's still in the box.
Well, the thing is, like, when you're in a rhythm of doing it and you want to learn the next new trick, you can't go to bed.
That's ADD. Like, that's ADD, man. That's ADD as shit.
Skateboarding. Yeah. Like, that was my skateboarding thing. It's like, but at least when the sun goes down, you got to go inside. You can't do tricks inside.
That was that saying that's coming out now. It's like, are you really a jack of all trades, or really just ADD and have like gotten halfway good at a bunch of shit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dude, I think that happens to so many people.
Yeah.
I did the same thing during COVID. I became like all of a sudden I was making epoxy tables. I've not touched a fucking woodworking tool since COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not at all. I don't care at all. No, I'm just not even a little bit.
That's tough. I'm trying to think of something else I got okay at. I can't even.
It's challenge accepted with you. Because you'll find something and I gotta do something. But you brought those over and then my girls were like, fuck, we got this. And they became fucking pros on it.
I got them like getting good at playing around with it. Like I got them made for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
fuck
I was
that.
like,
that ball was going everywhere. I was about ready to throw it at somebody, like, because I couldn't do it. It took me a hot minute. I'm like, damn it, how are they doing that? My uncle got these little balance boards too, and they're small ass little things, and you have to balance straight on it. And my youngest one
on the roller.
Yeah, there's a
water board.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, my kids would be broken, dude. They're so goddamn clumsy.
Oh my, yeah, you would think so, but that my youngest one at the age of 3,
my kids have
standing on
problems
it
walking.
watching TV.
My kids have problems walking. I'm out. Like I have a 5-year-old and an 11-year-old. My 11-year-old.
Yeah.
I've watched them trip walking forwards on their front side. It's just how it goes.
Shit. Yeah, my kids walk into shit. It's not, but genetically, we are not necessarily prone to all the wonderful sides. I trip over my feet. Hell, I broke my foot walking off a sidewalk leaving work. Just I'm on one side of the car, someone's on the other side, and all of a sudden I disappear. They're like, "Are you okay?" Yeah. I just missed the sidewalk and I fell sideways.
Oh, I'll give them that. Like, at least they're tough as shit. Like, my oldest fell out of a tree and landed, knocked the wind out of her. Nothing broken, nothing's fine, everything's fine. She fell pretty far. They're both built for this shit. Like, luckily, like, if anyone's gonna fall and get hurt, I'm thankful. I hate that it's my kids, but they're always like, nothing's broken. They're getting up. They're gonna cry for half a second, and then they're going back for it. Thank fucking God. Yeah, dude, they're built to take some shit. Thank God.
I think it's like a lot of the times it's how you react to them.
Oh, 100%.
Because I've seen, like, the younger they are, it's how you react.
Yes.
Like, I mean, unless they fucking knot their head up pretty bad. But then still, you can kind of talk them out of it.
Brian almost died. We were at the river one time, and my oldest, they're 6 years apart. Yeah. And there's a cliff on one side. We're at, oh my God, Boat Ramp Road. And my oldest goes across to the cliff. She's trying to grab some clay, and she's going to come back. Well, my youngest one keeps getting up. She's like a year and a half, 2 years old. Just keeps getting up, sit the fuck down. I literally turned around to grab something out of the cooler and turned back, and all I can hear is my oldest screaming. You can't see her. All you can see are the fingertips of my youngest. And so we're freaking the fuck out. She's bobbing in and out, and smart as a devil grabs the fucking tree. The opening for this little river piece was probably like 20 feet wide, and as you go around the bend, it narrows, and it's super, super deep. Well, there was a tree that had fallen down, and she grabs the branches on it and catches it. And luckily, my husband ran out there, ends up losing his glasses in the water, but gets her. When she grabbed the tree branch, she had enough common sense to pull herself up. So she's like hanging on with her head popped up. He grabs her. They come back across, and you can still see she has like a couple blood vessels or something that were popped in her eyes. So she's got like this permanent little scar, more or less, from it. But 10 seconds later, I want to go back. No, bitch. You watch it. We're fucking leaving. Like, you almost died. What's wrong with you? So they're resilient, and it is. It's kind of how you respond to it. But I don't know. Like, I was ready to go, and she wasn't. So there's no fear of the water there.
Oh no, kids, they don't give a shit. Yeah. The moment that they realize they're not going to die, they're like, "Oh no, we're doing more of that," and I'm all for it.
They're like the line. I got to the line. I didn't cross it yet.
Yeah.
The line hurt.
Yeah.
But I can go across that line a little bit.
Oh yeah.
That shit's funny, dude. I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Of course. No. It was an absolute pleasure, man. It's been a blast.
Yeah. I mean, I knew you were really cool, but then we got the tattoos and we had a solid ass conversation, and I was like, already wanted you to come on just because you kind of have a name about you. I think so, at least. So I'm
thank you.
It'd be cool to have him on, just talk tattoo stuff, but I was like...
I'll be honest, I had no idea what the fuck I was like, maybe mental health awareness stuff, or maybe...
today?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Dude, I really did want to get there, but I'm like,
we can
we're
do it another
2.5 hours in right
now.
now.
Shit, I figured we were only an hour in. Oh, yeah, if you ever want to do that, man, I would love to break into that.
And I really thought, because I was like, you're the co-host today, I was like, we'll get to that. But then we just started tattoo.
Yeah, dude, it's a fruitful area. There's a lot of shit to it. I'm sure I could talk more about it. There's 12 years. There's plenty.
I mean, Hilton's going to want to have you on as well to talk to you.
Sick.
So we'll have to have it on.
I have more stories. I have other stories. Shit, I mean, even my apprenticeship was deeper than what I just told you guys.
I really wanted to get into, your early...
Hell, I during my apprenticeship, I worked muscle for drug dealers. That was how I made my money to get through my apprenticeship. It was hairy, dog.
This is quite the cliffhanger.
Let's go.
This sounds like a made-for-TV movie.
Let's go for it.
But I'm going to shout out some sponsors. You being one of them. I can't thank you enough for coming on and just sponsoring us as a podcast. It's about community, and as me and Tiffany can really attest to, you do great work.
Thank you, guys.
You take care of your clients, and
I enjoy what I do. Thank you guys for being part of it.
You enjoy, and your quality's amazing.
Thank you.
Which is probably why you have such a long waiting list.
I don't fucking know what it is, dude. I'm just hanging out, man. I'm glad anyone wants to hang out at all.
Well, if they want to get a hold of you, it's Johnny Mumbles on Instagram, and it's Sacred Grounds Tattoos.
Yes, please just stumble in there. We'll figure out some stuff. Just come talk to us. Yeah,
they do amazing work. Y'all also I don't know if everybody there, but some of you guys commission artwork as well.
Yes, several of us. Yeah, we will, depending on what the art is or what you're trying to do. Yeah. We also sell prints and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, everyone there is busy constantly. Even our apprentices, they're constantly busy. Everyone's nonstop. And Ed's our piercer doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So there's figure it out. We'll take care of it. If it's an art, we'll put our hands in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I can't thank you enough for that. But speaking of muscle, if you are in Pensacola, Florida, and you want to get muscled around, you can go to Kazushi Club Pensacola. Derek Overby is the owner, and also within that, there's Wild Hair Wellness, which is his future soon-to-be wife's gig. It's not called yoga, that I've been told, but I think it's called body awareness. So but everybody knows it as yoga.
Okay,
but it is. She's just teaching you to be more aware of your body. She teaches
the front, the back from the front.
Yeah, all of it. She really does. She's informed people on their cycles and shit, and what you can eat to make your cycles feel less painful. And
oh shit!
So they own that spot, but whenever it's not Wild Hair Wellness, it's Kazushi Club Pensacola, and Derek Overby runs that. Also, they have this thing on Instagram called Little Guy Jits. Him and his brother Casey Overby run that. And you can just get onto that and just check out like techniques. They constantly pump out content. Typically, it's centered around smaller people and the dilemma of taking on a larger person and just not being completely dominated, or flipping a situation like a sweep, or a technique that would work on a bigger person. That's in Pensacola, Florida. It's literally right next to the Domino's on Scenic, like right around where Culver's is, or Circle K is. It's in that shopping mall. But if you are not in Pensacola, Florida, and you find yourself in Foley, Alabama because you made a mistake, you know what I'm saying? Because Alabama's a wild place. But if you are there, you can go to Panacea Martial Arts. Tony Rayborn got his black belt last year. Long time coming, but well deserved. He also just had a baby with Emily, and it's such a family environment. Anybody of any age can be taught there. They have 100 kids that are taught there. Like when we do family days or whatnot, there are more kids than there are adults by a lot. Like if they decided and wanted to gang up, like I know Tony's a black belt and I'm a purple belt, and like there's other people in the gym that are like belted, but it would be a tough task. I mean, it would be like 30 minutes to an hour until the adults could walk out of there maybe. Because some of them just have energy for days. They're batteries.
Yeah. Oh yeah, kids.
They don't need to be charged. They're just going off of just like candy bars and Mountain Dews, dude. But Tony teaches like such a good class, and on Wednesdays you can go be taught beginner no-gi jiu-jitsu at 5:30, and then at 6:30 it's advanced, but it's being taught by Richard. Or you call him Rich. I don't know why I called him Richard. That was weird. Rich Klemensky or Shimaleski. He has a Polish name and it's super hard to pronounce. So I always say Rich, and then Hilton always says a thing, but you're not Hilton. So Shimaleski is like pretty much what we've settled on. But he owns a lifestyle experiment, which if you look on the video, there's a belt right above her head. He owns that brand. If you want to look at his merchandise, he sells no-gi rash guards, no-gi shorts, gi like attire. He also has belts, t-shirts, but it's on alefl.com if you want to check that out. I know they just dropped some rash guards. Like they have a black and a rose gold joint, and I think they're doing a black and white release right now as well. But it's up right this second, so if you go to alefl.com, you can check that shit out. But that's it on our sponsors. I can't thank you enough for coming in.
Absolute pleasure.
Absolutely gonna have to do it again.
Let's go.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I'm so not used to like signing off. That's Hilton's thing. But he's always like, all right, we love you guys. What the fuck's he say? He's like, all right, we're getting out of here. We love you guys. Something, the fuck off. We love you guys.
Fuck your kids.
Yee.